Be cool, be kind, be classy. The cupcakes so sweet and sexy. Have fun and enjoy the journey. Or just have a good attorney. No big whoop, no biggie. She lives near New York City. And not just a YouTube show. When you know, you better grab a straw. Learn about the law. It's cool here in the shade. Sipping motions of lemonade. Cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Oh, Melanie Little is going live. Oh no, where is Melanie? Follow the island's melody. There's a concert within reach. No surprise, she's at Jones Beach. She heard some music far away. Captain Jack Sack Harbor Bay. He sings and his piano plays. Not all sounds are waterways. Speaking Yiddish and Latin, it's not just for Manhattan. It's for Proctor and Michegas. Ridiculous that insanus. Oy vey, Marcus. Pro said, that's for schmucks. Be cool, be kind, be classy. My cupcakes sweet and sassy. And not just a YouTube show. When you know. Cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Melanie Little is going live.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, my friends. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today for a little bit. I don't know how long it's going to be. This might be the last day that I get to wear my Bruins hat this season. So it is do or die tonight for the Bruins. Playoff hockey season is my favorite season of the year. And I had my abs cap on because, sweep. But I figured I'd give the Bruins another chance tonight. Do or die, 7:30 against the Sabres. Buffalo leads 3-1. When did they make this first round best of 7 instead of best of 5? Didn't it used to be best of 5? Am I imagining things? It's quite possible I might be. Today we're going into court for Kelsey Fitzsimmons' custody motion hearing for temporary orders. And if you weren't here yesterday, you might not know that Kelsey did indeed get to see her baby Caden this past Saturday for 2 hours or 2.5 hours, depending on who you listen to. Justin finally allowed it in his attorney's office, supervised by his attorney. Nonetheless, it was a wonderful reunion, and Kelsey's very happy about it, as she should be. We've all been waiting a long time to see Kelsey, or to hear about Kelsey being reunited with her son, that she was kept away from for 298 days because of the way this horrible situation unfolded with regard to the service of the 209 restraining order on Kelsey that Justin obtained on June 30th of 2025, and the fact that she, in fact, was shot by her coworker. You know the rest of the story if you're here because you're interested in it. But before we go there, we are going to be able to cover it live because Law Girls Not Attorneys got permission to stream it. Doesn't start until 10. And maybe mainstream media will be in there too. I don't know. But it is a custody hearing. And I think there are boots on the ground there. So that's fantastic. Here is something. Well, let's look at our motivational daily calendar first before we move on to some interesting things I wanted to show you before court starts today. Today's Tuesday, April 28th. What do we have in store for us today? We all need our daily motivation. Let's see what we get. Here you go. Ralph Marston. I don't know who that is, but Ralph Marston says, it is difficult to follow your dream. It's a tragedy not to. Oh, so good. Never thought my dreams would be on YouTube. And yet here I am. You never know what's going to happen. So here's what Ralph Marston said. It's difficult to follow your dream. It's a tragedy not to. There you go. Enjoy your motivation of the day. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ralph. There we go. Empowerment card of the day. We do that too. Everyone needs empowerment. Yesterday's was really good. Here's yesterday. Ooh, where is it? I saved it because I like it so much. I kept it right here. This is from yesterday. If you're going to rise, you might as well shine. Shine, my friends, shine. If you're going to rise, you might as well shine. Don't ever let anybody steal your sparkle. Mike is bouncing today. All right. But this is today's. So let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Oh, this is so apropos. If you know, you know. Kill them with success and bury them with a smile. Kill them with success and bury them with a smile. Oh, praise be. Praise be. Would I lie to you? Would I lie to you, honey? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I think in song lyrics too. So if you're new here, it happens often. I'll just quote a song randomly out of the blue. And if you're lucky, I won't sing it to you. But it's okay. I have my throat coat tea. Last night, we read, when I say we, I mean I read to you 24 single-spaced pages, which is like 48 double-spaced pages, and another 20. And another 20. Special shout out to Jean's sister, Colleen. It's her birthday. Happy birthday, Colleen. Thank you, Jean, for asking me to say happy birthday to your sister. Happy to do it. Happy birthday, Colleen. Hopefully she's a cupcake and she's watching. And I hope you have the greatest day imaginable, Colleen. Thanks, Jean, for your Venmo. I appreciate you so much. You guys are the greatest. You guys are the greatest chat on the internet. And I love you so much. Oh, you did watch it? We talked about this the other night. Ducky Grammy says, I watched the Peacock Rex Sherman story. It's so disturbing. I always think people are rational and would never have believed that type of evil exists, even after watching true crime. I know. It's hard to believe, right? It's hard to believe. And yet, it's real. It's real. Shop and Tan for me said, I heard from Kelsey. She is most grateful to every one of us. Please continue to pray, give air hugs or any support you can give her. We love you, Kelsey. Oh, thank you for your 10. Shop and Tan for me. Also, underneath in the show notes to this video, if you're on your phone, you might need to close your chat out, is the Give, Send, Go fund for Kelsey. As we all know, legal representation, good legal representation is very expensive. And we've been here since, I think I've been reporting on this story since 11 days after Kelsey was shot, all the way back in, she was shot June 30th. I started covering it, I think, July 11th. And so we've been here from the beginning. We have watched this unfold in real time. And many of you cried yesterday when you found out that Kelsey was allowed to see Caden, allowed to. He says it was because he suggested it. It was all his idea. And many of us think that. Maybe his lawyer said to him, listen, dude, the papers are pretty damning against you. And so maybe you should, since we have a hearing on Tuesday, maybe you should, we can tell the judge you've been cooperative and let her see her baby for the first time in 298 days. We'll do it in my office and I can supervise. Awesome. Thanks. Karen DePasquale gifted 5 memberships. You're amazing. So amazing. Thank you so much. You're always gifting. You're always so sweet. And Kay Willis is here. She's a realtor. She's gifting 5 memberships. And welcome to the 10 new members. Thank you so very much. Please be cognizant of what you write in the chat. The moderators have a zero tolerance policy. So if you come in here and defame someone, even if you think I don't like them and the rest of the chat doesn't like them, it will be deleted. You might get timed out. So just guide your actions accordingly. I'm not risking my channel being stricken because of something somebody says on the internet. Okay. Here we go. Here's an interesting thing that Microdots posted. And many of you know Adam Deitch is running for Norfolk County District Attorney. Michael Marcy is not running again. And Adam Deitch is running. He was part of the U.S. Attorney's Office as when they investigated the investigation into the murder of John O'Keefe. And Adam Deitch moved his family to Norfolk County specifically so that he could run for district attorney and unseat Michael Marcy. The other candidates are Greg Connor, who I understand did not even show up at the debate, claimed he was not involved at all in the Karen Reed persecution. And yet when the FOIA dump came out the other day, there was something like, I don't know, 4,000 emails copying Greg Connor. And we also had heard through the grapevine that Greg Connor didn't want to try the Karen Reed case #2. And so he, that's why they hired Hank Brennan, blah, blah, blah. Here's something Adam Deitch said the other day at this debate. And listen closely.
Creating a real conviction integrity unit, creating a cold case unit, and ensuring that this district attorney's office is not going to be one where Sandra Birchmore's family is still looking for answers and where Sandra Birchmore is still listed on a death certificate as having committed suicide. It's not going to be a district attorney's office where John O'Keefe's family either doesn't know or hasn't gotten an answer from the DA's office for what happened. Or if the DA's office has utterly failed to provide justice, it needs to revisit that case and figure out what happened and have a dialogue with.
Wait a second. The DA's office needs to reopen that case into the murder of John O'Keefe. What did you say, Mr. Deitch? What did you say? Listen.
Have a dialogue with John O'Keefe's family.
Oh, have a dialogue with his family too. Wait, hang on. I'm going to take it back.
It needs to revisit that case and figure out what happened and have a dialogue with John O'Keefe's family about what the facts actually are.
Huh. About what the facts actually are. Shout out to Microdots.
Creating a real conviction integrity unit.
For clipping that.
Creating a cold case unit.
Interesting, right? Interesting. We're here for it. We're here for it. Somebody just said it doesn't matter. He's not going to win. Massachusetts votes blue no matter what. Listen, I know a lot of people who live in Norfolk County, as we have come to call it. And Emily C. is one of them. And she will tell you that I think the boots on the ground are pretty strong for Adam Deitch. And so, Adam is blue. He is blue, says PHC. And so Emily C. will tell you that perhaps he's got a good chance. I don't know if you're here, Emily, because I was going to play your cute little piece next. So Emily C. did a really funny video about, or a recap of the April 23rd hearing about Michael Proctor's phone, in which Karen Reed was in court. And I don't know if we have enough time to play it. Let me see. Long girls don't have their camera up yet, so they may not be able to do anything yet. Just give me 1 second. Jenna. Okay, Jenna. Jenna, you're a resident. Who are you going to vote for? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but what's the word on the street? And also, the election is on a weird day. I think. Emily, if you're here, Leah, if you're here, and I think it's not even, is it not even in November? Is the election in September or something? Paula says, it's important for all of us to get out there and vote. KK Billingsley says, Perkins needs to drop out. Resisting arrest has been here for 16 months. And says, I think Mr. Deitch is made of wonderful. Oh, I like that so much. He's made of wonderful. I mean, he felt so strongly. I imagine that the reason that he's running is because he felt so strongly about the ridiculousness of the persecution of Karen Reed and the fact that nobody really ever investigated the murder of Boston police officer John O'Keefe, that he really gave up his job, gave up everything because of his convictions to come back and get that stuff figured out. What do you think? 1 second. Oh, please. Okay. Oh, something else I wanted to bring to your attention was a post yesterday by retired Massachusetts family court judge Carol Erskine. And she wrote a book on the Harmony Montgomery case, which is a very, very tragic case. And here is what she tweeted yesterday, Carol Erskine. As the temporary custody hearing in the Kelsey Fitzsimmons probate case is set to be heard tomorrow, this was yesterday, the case of Angelone v. Angelone serves as a reminder that for the last 40 years, courts have made clear that mental health issues are only relevant if they directly impact the safety of the child or of a child. In that case, the father, and this is Angelone v. Angelone, the father appealed the grant of custody to the mother, claiming to be the superior parent because the mother had been voluntarily hospitalized a few times for mental health issues and had at times suffered from depression. The court disagreed with the father and upheld the custody to the mother, writing, quote, "In our opinion, on the evidence before her, the judge could permissibly conclude, A, that Marie is dealing successfully with her emotional problems, B, that of the two parents, she, despite her problems, can offer the children more room for growth. C, that Gino has an obsession with keeping control over the life of his wife and children, which causes much of her stress. And D, the welfare of the children will best be served by granting custody to their mother with liberal and specific rights of visitation for the father." So see, in that case, the mother had been hospitalized a couple of times for mental health issues, and the court disagreed and upheld custody for the mom. Carol Erskine says, retired judge from Massachusetts, the law is the same today. Evidence that mental health issues have resolved or are resolving and do not impact safety of a child will not preclude a grant of custody. And so there's that. So that's good. Gino, I guess, was the father in the Angelone v. Angelone case that was cited in her quote, because that's where these quotes come from. This case that has been the standard for 40 years, Angelone v. Angelone, that's Gino. She's giving an example. And so that's her opinion. You don't have to believe me. I tell you, I never, ever, ever would bet on what a judge is going to do. And I never, ever, ever would bet on what a jury is going to do. Never, ever, ever would I ever, because you never know which way a jury will go. And you never know, especially in Massachusetts, which way a judge is going to go either. And so we just got to keep on keeping on, right? We just got to keep on keeping on. But that is the expert's opinion. No camera yet. I don't think. She's a Massachusetts judge, yes, but she's retired, right? Jay McCabe. I believe she's retired. Everybody, please hit the like button. Thank you very much. If you're buffering, please refresh. You don't need to announce, but YouTube's having issues lately. And so if you are buffering, if I'm freezing, if it's glitching, my mods will tell me if it's really happening. Sometimes it's your own device. Sometimes all you got to do is refresh your own browser. Okay. Michael from Justice Served is in court. There's some other matters ahead of time. And the judge's name is Karen with a C, C-A-R-Y-N. Mitchell-Munevar. And according to Massdad, who knows all things Massachusetts, a Long Islander who moved to Massachusetts to work in the legal field, he's not an attorney, but he knows the answers to everything procedural in Massachusetts, says that this judge is an excellent judge. So we'll see. We'll see. Hold, please. And Michael says there's some other matters happening. 29 minutes ago, Julie Hess arrives in court. She is the attorney for Kelsey in this proceeding, the custody hearing. Custody proceeding. This is a custody proceeding today. He said 29 minutes ago, the gallery is about 2/3 full with litigants for other cases and supporters. Justin is seated in the back row near the door. Gotta wonder what he expects to happen, ... 28 minutes ago, Justin leaves with his attorney for a chat. Courtney's in the same back row as her brother. And we wait. Because there are other matters. There are other cases in court. It's not the only one. It's not the only one. Let's take a look while we're waiting. We can watch. Oh man, I am deep into the Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel rabbit hole, and it keeps on going. Keeps on going. The latest is allegedly Diana Rossini made a mixtape for Mike Vrabel. Made a mixtape for Mike Vrabel by sending him a Spotify playlist all the way back in 2022, like a go get him guy playlist. Yes, the Spotify. Are you in it, Liz? Are you in it, Elizabeth? Oh, I'm so in it. I'm so invested in this, and I don't know why, because I need a distraction from all of the heavy stuff that we cover. And she sent it to him, this Spotify playlist, to a guy named Mike, all the way back December 19th of 2022, which just so happened to coincide with a 4-game Titans losing streak. I don't know. I don't know what it means, but I'm invested. And in my opinion, she may have just set women journalists, especially in the sports arena. Sports arena, see what I did there with a pun? May have just set back female journalists, I don't know, about 20, 30 years. If all this is true. I did a stream on Saturday night. It was on Saturday night, Katie. If you didn't see it, go back and watch it. Let's watch Emily C's take or dramatic reenaction of the April 23rd, 2026 hearing about Proctor's phone in front of our favorite judge, Judge Doolin. If you're not subscribed to Emily C on all things, she is at Emily SEE. She plays all the characters. This happens to be on Twitter, but she also has a YouTube channel, and Emily is a very sweet person who also happens to be from Norfolk County. There you go. Enjoy.
Mr. Krowski, how you doing? You were on the bench at 1:59. Oh, it's 2:03. You're late, and I'm ready to go. Lisa Beatty on behalf of Michael Morrissey. Attorney Tom DeGangi on behalf of America's hero, Michael Proctor. Attorney Joseph Krowski Jr. and who even knows which side of this thing I'm on anymore. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Rosemary's baby for the Commonwealth. Rosemary Scapiccio, and for the record, that's my daughter. I have no relation to Adam Lally. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Attorney Aaron Rosenberg on behalf of Karen Reed. I'll start with the counsel for Karen Reed. And I'm familiar with the history of this phone, so don't hold back. He's already on the naughty list. Thank you, Your Honor. This is regarding the lawsuit that we're going to file on the Massachusetts State Police. You know, the one where they're going to be renamed the Massachusetts State Bitches by the time that we're through with them. We just wanted to inform the court that we're going to use the disgusting messages between Michael Proctor and Sean Good, and there's nothing that this guy or that guy can do to stop us. Okay, Mr. Proctor's counsel, give it a shot. Your Honor, this is Michael Proctor's private cell phone. You know how it is. Imagine I said I wanted to look at your phone. Here you go. The contents of my phone don't look like that. Okay, scratch that. Miss Reed can't use what's on Michael Proctor's phone because there's naked pictures of random women on that phone. Miss Reed would be violating their privacy. And besides that, Michael Proctor is a gentleman. He spent 12 years as a state trooper, and he never got disciplined once. Like, because he was so good, not because they're also all just as bad. Anyways, he worked 40 hours a week. He worked his contracted hours, and the taxpayers paid him for it. While he was with the MSP, did you die? No, you're right here. Mr. Proctor did that. He saved your life. Did we have any nuclear war or alien attacks? No, Mr. Proctor did that. Oh, hold on. I just got a text message from Jen McCabe. She wants me to tell you vicious harassment. Anyways, Mr. Proctor has been through quite enough. On behalf of Mr. De Los Santos, we need access to the contents of Michael Proctor's cell phone because, as I've always said, This is a man who was willing to go along with the conspiracy and cover-up at 34 Fairview. Mr. De Los Santos will benefit the more information that's shared about Trooper Proctor. However,
Okay, hold on. You might not have seen that during this portion of the video. While she is in the voice of Joe Krowski, she puts up some of his tweets from when he represented Colin Albert at one point.
always said,
And here it is. Here's one from October 31st, 2024. Attorney Joe Krowski Jr. tweeted, "I am defending decency. With zero evidence, people are accusing good people of murder. See it for what it is. She was drunk, she was impulsive, and she hit him. As unprofessional as Proctor's texts were, none of the texts were evidence of a cover-up." He flipped.
this is a man who was willing to go along with the conspiracy and cover-up at 34 Fairview. Mr. De Los Santos will...
And next tweet of Joe Krowski Jr. from June 30th, 2024. "Yeah, sure. On a moment's notice, 18 people conjured up a plan to frame someone they all liked. Enjoy the Flat Earth Convention." None of those aged well. And it's also been, I think Joe Krowski, or maybe his dad, is like besties with Hank Brennan. One of them was in court every single day when Hank Brennan tried the case.
benefit the more information that's shared about Trooper Proctor. However, if there's any information about Jen McCabe there, we want that impounded. Your Honor, we don't even have a position with regards to anything that's going on here, but since everybody's dancing around the truth about how despicable Michael Proctor is, I'll tell it to you straight.
He doesn't meet any of conditions for which a protective order should issue. He's not a victim. Why are we protecting him? Why is the Commonwealth protecting him? Why is anyone protecting him? It's not a separate entity. It's who this man is. He's a racist, really a racist person from the beginning. Some of the things that he says, Judge, which I know you've heard through the grapevine, but some of the things that he says, like he'll say things like, "It's kill an N-word in Canton Day." Everybody get there. Like,
I
this
get
is
your
what we're
point.
dealing with. That.
I get your
So
point.
what are we protecting? That's
All
what I can't figure out.
On behalf of Michael Morrissey, we just want to say that we want this protective order on Michael Proctor's phone, not because we're protecting Michael Proctor, but it's because we're protecting our set. I'm going to stop you right there. The naughty list is already full for today.
Fix your volume because I couldn't boost that volume, and now I'm going to blast your ears out. Okay. Okay. Oops. Back to normal volume. She's funny. She gets it done. You guys are saying that Karen won the motion to be able to use Proctor's texts in her lawsuit against Canton PD, the upcoming lawsuit against the town of Canton and the MSP. I didn't see that decision. Is there a decision or is there just a notation on the docket? That motion was made in the Miles King case. Please go subscribe to Emily C. on YouTube and X and everything. And thank you, Kim, for your Venmo. She just says, thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. Alex Castellano had a hearing today in Lowell District Court. You may remember him as the man who is accused of graping a child from the age of 5 until the age of 11, who was arrested and was let out of jail, let out on $5,000 bail in Lowell. There was supposed to be a hearing today at 9 a.m. I don't know what happened. But you should be outraged by that guy, Alex Castellano. We did talk about that one day. And we have Law Girls up, but there are other hearings happening. So there's that. There's no commercial camera there. Okay. You saw the papers? I don't know. Nobody sent me the papers. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Kimberly sent this to me. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Kimberly. This was tweeted by Dee Dee, who is at Suspicious Sauce on the cesspool of Twitter in the Commonwealth versus Miles King, De Los Santos, and Johnston. Here's the decision and order from Judge Doolin. Let's look at it now. So if anybody comes in and tries to tell us the breaking news, let them know we already did it because we're on it, because you guys are on it. All right, here we go. This is in the Commonwealth versus Miles King, Bianca Ciancio, Giovanni De Los Santos, and Sean Johnson. This is the decision and order on Karen Reed's motion for permission to use materials recovered from former state trooper Michael Proctor's phone in related Superior Court proceedings, subject to all other terms of court's existing order and applicable confidentiality. One moment. Good morning, Smooth as Cruise. I'll accept your late note. No worries. You didn't miss anything yet because the hearing hasn't started. That could be like the longest name of a decision that we've seen in a very long time. The hearing is coming. It's starting at 10. There's other cases before it. Here you go. After hearing and review of the papers submitted, the motion is allowed, dun, 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 for Karen Reed, allowed under the same terms and conditions as the court's previous order dated February 26, 2026. Ms. Reed and her attorney may only use the phone data in connection with the action counsel for Ms. Reed referred to during the hearing against the Massachusetts State Police and Canton Police. No other use of the materials in any way without permission of this court is permitted. So she's allowed to use it, and she wants to quote it in the forthcoming lawsuit against the town of Canton and the Massachusetts State Police. That is going to be a whole separate lawsuit. The lawsuit Karen Reed filed against everybody in, what court did she file that in initially? Now I'm conflating my cases. It wasn't Plymouth. Was it Bristol? Was removed to federal court by the Haas defendants. And so Karen Reed cannot sue the Massachusetts State Police and Canton Police or town of Canton in federal court because they do not have jurisdiction over those municipalities. And so Aaron Rosenberg told us at the last hearing that they're going to file a separate lawsuit. It's going to be in state court. It wasn't Bristol. Look at me. I'm getting pretty good at this YouTube thing. This was actually filed. The date stamp is today, April 28th, and you guys are on it. And it is signed by our favorite Judge Michael Doolin. Michael P. Doolin, Justice of the Supreme Court, dated yesterday, but filed this morning. So there's that. That was the hearing we saw last week that we just watched Emily C. reenact, in which Proctor actually said in his text messages to at least Sean Good, who is still suspended for unknown reasons, it's kill an N-word in Canton Day. Everybody get there. Just one of the horrific things that Michael Proctor's text messages contain, in addition to nudes of many women. And I have some thoughts about who those women might be. And I wonder, were they victims of crimes? Were they victims of SA? Were they could it have been? Think about whose phones Proctor had, whose cases he was involved in. Brian Walsh. Could there be nudes of Anna Walsh on there? Could there be nudes of Brian Walsh on there? Imagine that. Imagine if there's nudes of Brian Walsh on Proctor's phone. Because if Brian Walsh isn't going to get a new trial because of what I thought was a poor decision from the Fruits of the Poisonous Tree issue, could you just imagine? Probably victims. Maybe criminal defendants. Maybe people whose phone they seized. What if they found stuff in Aidan Carney's phone? He's been open about having things on his phone. And what if they passed around all those photos of those women? And if any of those women find out about it, you think they'll have a really great case against the Massachusetts State Police and Canton for sharing their private photographs? So if you know anybody who may have been nude in Aidan Carney's phone or other phones that we know that they've extracted, or you are one of those people, my suggestion would be for you to call Rosemary Scapiccio. Get on the phone and call Rosemary Scapiccio, because you know why? She knows whose photos are in those phones. She has the extraction. I think she also does civil rights cases. She might not be able to tell you about it because there's a protective order. But if there's any doubt about whether or not you could be one of the women who was shared by Proctor and his cronies, get on the speed dial to Rosemary Scapiccio. Hot tip of the day. Muzzy, thank you so much for watching from Down Under. Says, thanks for being here. She says, thanks for your dedication to justice. Thank you for being here for 28 months. I appreciate you so much. And Jenny Lulu, good morning from the coast of Maine. Oh, I love the coast of Maine. When I used to go to summer camp in New Hampshire, we would go every summer. The seasoners trip was always to York Beach. And I love York Beach because I can still remember the smell and the taste of the saltwater taffy that they have at York Beach. And also the water being so cold, so cold. Tilly Cat says, local to the Josie Dykeman case, would love to see some more attention brought to this if you decide to cover it. I think that's starting today. And it is a horrific case about a 6-year-old boy. And the stepmother, but she wasn't really married to the father, is on trial for murder of this child. And it's horrific. It involves a lot of abuse. She also had prior charges against her that she was convicted of in 2013 against another child. It's gruesome. I think it's going to be a 3-week trial, but I'm going to take a look at it and see if I can stomach it before I decide for sure. Because, you know, it is very, these child cases are horrific. I could not handle the Shonda Vander Ark case. I just couldn't. And so I didn't, but that was horrific too. Dawn says, I love York Beach. Spent many summers in Wells, Maine. That's awesome. Good time to remind everyone to hit the like button. Michael from Justice Served is tweeting, says, Justice Served TV is collaborating with Law Girls Not Attorneys and streaming the hearing. No commercial camera is here. And then says, I get the feeling that this courtroom isn't used to standing room only. All attorneys sitting in front of the bar so the spectators can fill the gallery. About 40 spectators total. This is a great question, Michael. Any statute of limitations with the pictures in Proctor's phone? I would argue it would be a data discovery rule, because if you didn't know that your pictures were being shared, how could the statute of limitations start to run? So you may be able to argue, or these women may be able to argue that they didn't know about it. And so the statute of limitations should start running from the time that they did find out about it. That's a great question. A lot of fans of Maine in the chat. Amy says, being in Texas, and Athena Strand trial dominated here. I'm not doing any child trials for a very long time. Yeah, that one was bad. It's still going on, right? Spunky Nana says, question, don't they have to prove what they swore in these affidavits, like this far, far away business? Yeah, far, far away land. She was going to take him far, far away and I would never see him again. Actually means New Hampshire. We're going to see if this is going to be an evidentiary hearing, if they're going to call witnesses. If even the parties are going to testify, we won't know until we get there. But we did read the whole entire thing last night. Courtney says, someone timed me out yesterday and I literally didn't say anything bad. LOL, I'm so confused. Don't be confused. Things happen, especially when there's thousands of people in the chat. If somebody's moderating from their phone, if you'd like to know what the mods don't tolerate, Team Brittany will be happy to type them out for you and let you know. But this is one of the most safest chats on the internet for a reason. And so, just don't be defamatory. Don't attack people. Don't dox people. Brittany will let you know. And then once she types it out, if she's here and has time, I'll put it up for you. But not all cops are bad. Mass Dad is telling me that family court very rarely has evidentiary hearings. Cherie, thank you for sending me that. But as I looked at the screenshot that you sent me about Aaron Spencer, your screenshot said that the hearing is at 1 a.m. And so I don't know if that's because you're in Australia. And so it changes the time to your local time. But as I looked at the screenshot that you sent me, all of the times for the hearings were in the 2 a.m., 1 a.m. And so, first of all, I thought what you sent me wasn't really a date change. It was a time change. And so I don't think the hearing can be at 1 a.m. I mean, that's just what I think. There are other cases happening. And so we're waiting. Thank you, Kim, so very much for your Venmo. She just says, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes people get timed out by accident. The chat moves quickly. Don't hold a grudge. Don't hold a grudge. And if people get blocked by accident, all they have to do is email me with a link to their channel, and it's easily taken care of. But I need a link to your channel. But it happens. Also, YouTube has been acting wonky, and they sometimes have been blocking people, and they're also not sending out notifications for various reasons that they've told us about on the creator channel. So there's that. Yeah, Julie says, yeah, let them go ahead with the other cases so we have time for this one. New Hampshire is beautiful too. I agree with you. New Hampshire is beautiful. Thank you to everyone who sent me the decision on Proctor's phone. Betsy, thank you so much. I love you too. Thanks, Betsy, for your Venmo. I love you so much. What else do you want to talk about while we wait? The woman was arrested, the mother of the 2 children in Wellesley that were found dead inside their Wellesley home. That was horrible. And I believe she agreed to be extradited from Maine. So there's that. I don't know if the lawyers know what's going to happen at this hearing, but they'll be prepared for anything. That's a good question, Dawn. It's usually up to the judge. Maybe the judge read the papers and already has come to a decision. We'll see. It's always an adventure. It is always an adventure. Pens came back last night and it now lead the Flyers 3-game. Philadelphia leads 3 games to 2, but the Pens are still in it for all of my hockey fans. And we are going to not be on the air when the Bruins play tonight at 7. Inquiring minds want to know, can you cover the Lake and Snelling case? I've looked at it. I'm undecided about that. I have 5 kids of my own. And what that girl did, in my opinion, is something that, listen, I am a firm believer that, anybody who hurts children should go away for a very, 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 very long time. I don't know what's up with that girl. I don't know if she's got severe mental illness. I don't know if she had some sort of antepartum or postpartum psychosis. But apparently, for those of you who don't know, she's a college cheerleader who allegedly gave birth to a baby, and then either the baby was stillborn, or the baby was murdered by her. And it's a very horrific case. I don't know if I have the mental bandwidth for that. but I'll think about it. Depends on what my audience wants. And so I know my audience, and it depends. The answer is it depends. Kubi says, I'm the youngest of 12. Wow. Wow. Where do you fall in the order? And did you get enough attention? That's amazing. I love that. I love it. Dawn says, I agree with you totally, Melanie. Life in prison. I mean, there's not enough time for people who hurt children. Just not enough time to be given. Sarah Faith says, good morning from Tucson. Good morning to Tucson, Sarah Faith. Where's Nancy? Still no Nancy. Still no Nancy. Still no Nancy. Nancy Guthrie is still among the missing. And that's very sad, but maybe you know more about it since you're in Tucson. Wishing Kelsey luck today, she says. It's clear she's trying to be the bigger person and work with a man who only wants to tear her down, but she's going to come out on top. We'll see. No, that's not the one in the hospital bathroom, Lake and Snelling. It was in her dorm room. It was in her dorm room. How did nobody know that she was pregnant? I don't know. Sarah says that Nancy Guthrie lives down the street, or lived down the street from where you grew up with your parents. Wow. Did you go visit? Did you run into JLR on the street? He was camped out there for quite some time. The hearing was scheduled for 10. However, there are other cases being heard right now in the court. And so we're waiting patiently because there's no mainstream media there, according to Justice Serve TV. And our girls, the law girls, not attorneys, are in there. They got permission to stream. And so they won't put their camera up until the case is called. The hearing is for custody, as it says in both the title of the show and the thumbnail of the show. It's a custody hearing. Oh. Cupcakes for Justice. Melanie, do you know the status of the girl that is accused of killing her parents and she could get bail? I forget her name. Sarah Grace Patrick? You talking about Sarah Grace Patrick? That trial's supposed to be coming up in August. They would not give her bail. She's being held. But you know who did get bail? Only $5,000 of it. Alex Castellano. Let's check the Lowell District Court calendar for today and see if that was actually on. Oh, please. Let's see. I don't see it. I don't see it yet. Maybe it got pushed. Wow, they have a really long calendar in Lowell District Court today. It's pages and pages and pages and pages. Too many pages. Oh, I just got approved for another loan that I didn't ask for. How many people get 1 million spam calls a day about being approved for some loan that you've never applied for? Thank you so much. Spam. I don't see it. I'm going to have to dig further, fall into a bigger, deeper rabbit hole on that one. Yeah, so Sarah Grace Patrick, her trial's supposed to come up I believe in August. Let's see, August. August. I can't find it on my calendar immediately, but that's when I believe it was supposed to be. Does anybody else remember? And we wait. And we were waiting to hear what the mountains of evidence against her are. If you're not familiar with Sarah Grace Patrick, please go watch the my playlist on Sarah Grace Patrick. It's a very interesting case. Allegedly, the police told her father, well, she was the only one in the house, so she must have done it. Her mother and stepfather were gunned down in their bed. August. Were gunned down in their bed. And Sarah Grace's brother was a witness to those same adults being held at gunpoint a couple weeks before because of a drug deal gone bad. So it's going to be interesting. She's the girl from TikTok. Yes. She doesn't have a driver's license. She doesn't have access to firearms. It was wild. Yeah, I know. I don't know what happened with the do not call list, Karen Griswold, but apparently I guess it's not a thing anymore. And I just recently signed up again, and it doesn't matter. They still do it. I'm still getting all of these spam calls, millions a day. Not millions, but you know what I'm saying. Too many. Mountains of evidence. Oh yeah, the one about the text messages too about you didn't pay your toll. Don't click on that. Or also we cannot deliver your UPS package. Don't click on that either. I have that setting set, but I don't know why. I think the do not call list, this is a great point, says Cupcakes for Justice is actually the call me list. Yeah. That's how they get your phone. That's they get your phone over. That's how they know it's a working line. Maybe they sell it. I mean, listen, data is where it's at. Data is worth so much money. Many social media sites are created just for data farming, and they sell your data. And that's where the money is, my friends. That's what, follow the money. Follow the money. Justice served 9 minutes ago. Okay, 14 minutes ago. This is funny. 14 minutes ago, another case was called. No attorneys. Sir, can you take your hands out of your pockets? He does. Court can be intimidating. And the judge acknowledged that. There was a judge, famously, there was a judge when I was a young lawyer in Brooklyn that would not allow female attorneys to wear slacks to court. You had to wear a dress in this judge's courtroom. Gross. Michael's also saying Julie Hess is solo today. This is her war to win. 7 minutes ago, counsel for Justin is with an associate pouring through Post-it marked documents. He's chatting with Hess. Is there an agreement in the works? Could happen. Let's see. Thank you, Chris. Says, hi, love your work. Any update on Jesse Mack Butler? Yes, I did a show on that the other night. Hold, please. After a 3-day evidentiary hearing, the victim's motion for violation of their victim's rights by the prosecutor was denied. And there will be no change. Well, there wasn't going to be a change in Jesse Butler's sentencing anyway. The judge found that they did not prove that the district attorney's office and the victim advocate violated their rights by not letting them weigh in on the sentencing or the plea deal. So there's that. Go back. It's a couple days ago. I think we did that. Thank you, Chris Botello, Crochets and Plants. Oh, you guys were talking about diamond painting yesterday or something like diamond crafting. And you said it was so relaxing and I looked it up. Prayers up for Kelsey and Caden, says Chelsea. Has been here for 6 months. Thanks, Charles. Weird Debbie says, I'm so glad I discovered your channel. Thanks for being here for a whole year. I appreciate you so much. Karen Sutter says, I'm wondering if Kathy Romeo will be there today. I was a colleague of hers, and she's a wonderful seasoned developmental specialist. What Justin is representing that she said is out of character. Thank you for chiming in on that. I can't remember what exactly he attributed to her in his motion, the early intervention specialist, but he did say that a medical provider said that, Caden loves his father the most of anyone in the world, and that he was thriving, and a lot of things that seemed very skewed towards the father, which we all thought was wild. Thank you for your 10 and for chiming in on that. Down the rabbit hole we go. Has been in for 20 months and appreciates the coverage. Thank you. Cupcakes for Justice gifted 5 memberships. You're amazing. You're very sweet. Thank you. X-Ray Techie says, if the Bruins are out tonight, the Providence Bruins are headed to the playoffs Friday. First place in the Eastern Division. Playoff hockey is the best. Season tickets can't wait. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Thanks for letting us know. The Providence Bruins are headed to the playoffs on Friday if anybody wants to go. X-Ray Techie, thanks for your 10. Attorney Wannabe says, I received a call from a scammer who said I didn't show up for jury duty and had to pay a $1,000 fine. Little did he know that I would run over my grandma to go to jury duty. Scammers. Grr. Oh. It's crazy town. Anyway, this diamond painting to me looks very stressful. I think for me, that would be too stressful. It's like picking up little jewels with a thing and some wax and then putting it into little holes to make a painting. To me, that sounds very stressful. I would get frustrated that I couldn't pick up these little things and put them into little slots. Maybe like paint by numbers would be better for me. I don't know. You guys say it's stressful, but we'll see. Maybe they are trying to reach an agreement. That would be nice. As I say, it is far better to reach an agreement than it is to let a judge decide your family's financial future and who your child should live with, not even really knowing your family at all. Racing Queen, thanks for your 5. Any updates on Edric Foss? The case really got to me. I imagine he still needs financial help. I haven't been able to find his donation link again. I haven't looked lately, but I know that they filed a notice of appeal and that they were trying to raise money to hire Brian Steele as an appellate lawyer for Edric Foss. That was, in my opinion, also a tragic case that came to the wrong opinion. Good morning, USMC Cowgirl, Semper Fi. Carly Gregg's appeal is going to the Mississippi Supreme Court. They've agreed to hear it. It's in my calendar for oral arguments. I think that is sometime in May. I should get a whiteboard for myself and just have all the dates in front of me instead of having to look in my phone calendar. But Carly Gregg's oral arguments currently set for May 27th in front of the Mississippi Supreme Court. We will cover that live because I love watching appellate arguments in real time. Ashley Benefield, I'm not sure. I would have to check on that. I do not know. I'm unsure. A lot of Paint by Numbers fans in the chat. Oh, well, the case that is now being heard 4 minutes ago, they're taking testimony from the husband and the wife, or the child's mother and the child's father. Interesting. Oh, that was for a restraining order hearing. And we wait. A lot of people have highly recommended trial 4. Rosemary's Capiccio was the lawyer in that one. It's like a, I don't know, 4 or 5 part series. I think it's on Netflix. And a lot of you have said that it's really good, and I just have not had a chance to watch it yet. But everyone in the chat who has seen it says it's amazing. Thank you, Racing Queen, for your 5. And Bruce, thank you very much for your Venmo. He says, just because I find you fascinating. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate you so much. Nan Badala, 65 became a new member. Welcome. Welcome, Nan Badala. Let's talk about something lighter. Can we talk about something lighter? Just throw out a topic. Let me just see. I don't know, something funny. As I say, to remind you that the two kids that were found dead in a home in Wellesley were 6 and 7 years old. Their mother was arrested in Vermont. Her name is Jeanette McCausland. She's 49 years old. Not much more that we've learned about that. Also, the chef, the alleged award-winning chef from UMass, allegedly beat his wife to death in a UMass on-campus hotel. We listened to the 911 call the other day, and we got into that a bit. I've also heard that Caleb Flynn has filed a motion for continuance. I don't know much about that. I haven't dug into it yet, but the trial was supposed to start next Monday. And so it looks like that might not happen. I know, Massachusetts. We just can't get the hell out of Massachusetts because all the bad stuff keeps happening there. Or so much bad stuff. That we can't get out. Genesis Flynn's defense asked for a 3-week delay. It's wild because the thing about Caleb Flynn, he's the, I guess he was on American Idol one time. I don't even know if how far he made it or anything else like that. But the murder of Caleb Flynn's wife just happened, like in February, I think. And the fact that it's going to trial already, it was supposed to start, I think they were picking a jury. They were supposed to start picking a jury this week, is wild to me. Marie says that Edric has a hearing May 21 or June 11th. I saw it yesterday. Thank you, Marie Ann. Which is it? Where is it? What's it for? Need a little more info. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Bouquet says in lighter chat, Harrison, her son, is 18 on May 9th. He did really well at his new SN college interview, and now fingers crossed he gets this place. Congratulations. Congratulations. We are very happy for you and your son, Harrison. And we will all cross our collective fingers that he gets into the school of his choice. Beach Girl, we covered all of these motions, this entire motion a couple days ago on Aaron Spencer. Yeah, the SD card for the dash cam has been lost. That's actually not new information, but they are making that motion again. They're renewing their motion because either Barbara Elmore, the previous judge on Aaron Spencer's case, never ruled on it, or since she was removed, they're asking the new judge to reconsider it. They're asking the new judge to reconsider a couple things in addition to the missing SD card for Michael Fossler's dash cam and the lack of chain of evidence and chain of custody and all that other stuff. They're also asking that the child abuse specialist be allowed to testify as an expert. And there was one other thing that I can't recall off the top of my head, but we did cover that a couple days ago. It was in maybe it was on the Saturday Night Live show where we covered a whole bunch of topics, but we did cover that as well. And I think I time-stamped it so that whatever you want to watch, you can go right to the timestamp of the topic that you want to watch. I think that was, remind me, Saturday Night Live. AUB fan, will you cover the Lindsay Clancy case? I already have a playlist on Lindsay Clancy that is something like 36 videos long. And you know what? We ain't got no quit here. So not quitting on that one like ever. That's not happening until the summer either. I think, I can't remember exactly when right now. I think it's July. I have too many cases conflating in my head. but we've been covering Lindsay Clancy for a very, very, very long time. So go back and check out the playlist on that case if you have not seen any of the coverage. One of the most interesting shows, I think, is the show that I did on the medical malpractice case that Lindsay filed against her doctors, because it gives more insight into what exactly was going on with Kelsey and her medical treatment and all the crazy medications that the doctors put her on, and how they failed her at McLean Hospital, which is supposed to be one of the top hospitals for treating postpartum depression and psychosis. And it was very tragic. Very tragic. Yeah, Jenna says the poor thing was so sick and so medicated. For those of you who want to go see Dave Matthews in Cancun, they've already announced for next January. And if you want to buy a package, I don't know, just search up Dave and Tim Mexico. And I think it goes on sale maybe to the general public on Thursday. If anybody's interested in that, it's a great time. I think I've been there for like, I don't know, 6 years in a row. So fun. 3 shows on the beach. Dave Matthews, Tim Reynolds. And the stage is literally on the beach. You could hang out in the water. You can bring a towel and sit on the sand. It's amazing. So much fun. So much fun. If you've been, let me know, because I met Oksana there last year, and now I love Oksana. We had so much fun together. All right, 3 minutes ago, Justice Serve says the courtroom has been cleared for 2 cases with minors in attendance. When these matters are completed, we will go back in, presumably to begin the Fitzsimmons matter. And so there's that. I have no idea who's paying for Justin's attorneys. Not my business. She was in McLean. She was before she jumped out the second-story window, Lindsay Clancy, after taking the lives of her 3 children. She's even asked the judge, Kevin Reddington represents Lindsay Clancy. She's paraplegic. She tried to take her own life after taking the lives of her 3 children with exercise bands after sending her husband to get takeout. That was in Duxbury, Massachusetts. Thanks, Casey Paralegal, for your super sticker. They even asked the judge if they could bifurcate the trial, meaning the first trial would be on whether or not she did it. The second trial would be on her mental status and whether or not she was legally insane at the time that she did it. And Kevin Reddington, the judge has denied that motion, I think twice. Kevin Reddington even said, listen, judge, she will stipulate to the fact that she did indeed take the lives of her children. We can just do the trial on whether or not she was legally insane at the time she did. And the answer was no. Nope. Mini Secret Recipe. Thanks for your 20. Says, I watched the first 4 episodes of The Madison. Thank you for the recommendation. It's an incredible show. Michelle Pfeiffer should win an Emmy. And you look just like her, Melanie. You're both so gorgeous. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Mini Secret Recipe. I was going to ask you what your secret recipe is. And then I'm thinking, is it lemon pound cake? Mama's lemon pound cake. And speaking of Afro Man is appealing. Sometimes we put lemon pound cake in the corner. Sometimes we put Afro Man in the corner. And sometimes we put Afro Man cupcake in the corner that Charissa made for us. It was you, Charissa, right? And we have talked about how the lawsuit, in my opinion, filed against Aiden Carney and Karen Reed for defamation by the Haas defendants and Brian Higgins, Jennifer McCabe, Brian Albert, and Brian Higgins may have the less intended effect of bringing more attention to these people than they want. That's what happened with Afro Man. Bunch of cops in Ohio, where he lives, got a bogus search warrant based on a lie from a person who was a known liar who said he had kidnapped victims and a dungeon in his basement. He wasn't home. They broke his door down. They busted his gate. They trashed his house. And then, because they wouldn't help fix his gate, he made some songs that went viral on YouTube. You may remember Afro Man from his year 2000 hit, Because I Got High, Because I Got High, Because I Got High. Afro Man, using his own surveillance footage from inside of his house, made a couple of songs on YouTube and made fun of the cops. One of them happened to look lovingly at his mother's lemon pound cake on the counter. And not only did he make songs about lemon pound cake and will you help me repair my door? And Randy Walters is an SOB and other things. He made merch because he needed to make money to fix his broken down gate and his broken down door. And then the cops sued him. What had happened was, we watched the whole trial. If you didn't watch the Afro Man trial, you really missed out. It was amazing. What happened was the jury found Afro Man not liable for defamation. They sued him for defamation and for they wanted all the profits from all of his viral videos and all of his merch. And in my opinion, thanks, Minnie, this defamation lawsuit by the McCabe's and Alberts, or I'm sorry, by one McCabe, two Alberts, and a Higgins, may have the unintended effect of drawing more attention to them. Just like what happened in the Afro Man trial. And then what had happened, to make matters even worse, that judge was crazy. He thought he was like a law school professor. He was trying to teach the jury things and he would stop and like over explain. It was crazy. You should watch it. Highly recommend. The judge actually ordered that Afro Man pay half the costs in that lawsuit, even though he won and the trial and everything else. And that is not the way it's supposed to go. Loser is supposed to pay. So Afro Man has filed a notice of appeal for that decision of him having to pay half the cost. And so we will be covering more Afro Man. Who knew? The gift that keeps on giving. We're waiting for the hearing to start. It was supposed to start at 10, but this courtroom is very busy today with other cases. And so it would be wonderful if they're agreeing on something, but it seems like I don't think that Justin's ever going to give her a 50-50, 2-2-3 custody type situation. Law Girls Not Attorneys is boots on the ground. They're going to be streaming it. And as soon as their camera's up, we will get there. We'll turn it on. It's here so that we know. Right. Yeah, Mo. Actually, it was longer. I think the jury took maybe 6 hours to find that Afro Man did not defame these cops. But it was one day. We already did our cards for the day. Leah, tell me you're late without telling me you're late, but we'll look at them again. Let's look at them again. The empowerment card of the day that we pulled earlier this morning is kill them with success and bury them with a smile. Kill them with success and bury them with a smile. It's number one. And the quote of the day is this. We already went over the decision on Proctor's phone too. Karen is allowed to use it. It's difficult to follow your dream. It's a tragedy not to. Ralph Marston said that. It's difficult to follow your dream. It's a tragedy not to. Follow your dreams. You're never too old to dream a new dream. Melissa wants to know if we read the father's verified opposition that was filed yesterday at 3:50 p.m. Yep, we did it yesterday. We did it yesterday. I read the 24-page opposition by Kelsey. That was single space. So it was like 48 pages. And then there was a 20-page opposition. And we read that as well. You can go back and watch it if you like. But yes, we did. Because we're on it. Glamasu says, my court case calendar is finally up to date again. If people want to send me cases they would like added, message me and I'll add the cases. Okay, Glamasus. Message Glamasus. Thanks for your 5. Bay Harbor Beauty says she became a member. Welcome. And Friend of Dog gifted 10 memberships. You guys are amazing. You guys are so amazing. Yes, Afroman did just release a new video. He's very funny. He turned lemon pound cake into lemonade, this guy. And he's going to see a resurgence in his career. And the fact that they were looking in his suit pockets for kidnapping victims was so funny. And good for him. Friend of Dog, you're amazing. Good for him. I think. I know, it is amazing that I still have a voice. That was a lot of reading. Jen says, no, Justin wants Kelsey to never see the baby again. That's not true. In fact, she did see Caden on Saturday for 2.5 hours at Justin's lawyer's office. He says it was all because of him and it was his idea and everything. He wants her to have a very, very sparse step-up plan. We went over everything yesterday, so this is not accurate. He just thinks it should take a much longer time for her to be able to have unsupervised visits and more regular visits than Kelsey's idea of a plan. I can't watch the new video because Afroman has stricken every single person who's played every single song of his. In fact, people like me who were live streaming the trial, I did not play the lemon pound cake video when it came up. But everyone who did, and there may be some creators in the chat, I think, hi Baker, I think Baker's here, who did stream the lemon pound cake song was copyright stricken and had to cut it out. Hey there, Simply Me. Happy to catch me live. I'm happy you're here. Thanks for your super chat. Nitty Kitty says, thankfully, it's not up to Justin. The courts want the 50-50 and 223 majority of the time. Hopefully, they will agree with Kelsey's visitation schedule. It's reasonable. Also, we looked at a tweet from Carol Erskine, who is a retired Massachusetts family court judge. And she cited a case from 40 years ago that she says is still good law, that one of the parents' mental health hospitalizations should not be held against them when it comes to custody unless they are really a danger to the child. And I don't think Justin can prove that here, that she's really a danger to the child. Oh, please. Pitchy Brilliance, you don't say. Pitchy Brilliance is telling us that Karen can use the Proctor text in his new case. Rewind. I read the decision. If you rewind to where the papers are on the screen, you too can listen or to me read the decision, but you're correct. But they can only use it in the new case that they're going to file and none other. It's basically a modification of the prior order by adding Karen Reed's new case versus the town of Canton and the Massachusetts State Police that has yet to be filed, because when you're going to sue a municipality, I'll tell you what happens in New York and it's similar in Massachusetts. When you sue a municipality like the city of New York, the county of Nassau, the county of Suffolk, you have to file a notice of claim within 90 days of the occurrence, and then the municipality has a certain period of time to either reject your claim or ask for a hearing. And in Massachusetts, that is called a letter of presentment. And you have to wait a certain time before you can file a lawsuit. And Aaron Rosenberg told us in open court that the Massachusetts State Police has already rejected the notice of presentment. And so they could file against them, but they're going to wait for the time to expire for the town of Canton, which will expire in mid-May. And then they will be filing that lawsuit. It will be a separate lawsuit because they cannot sue the town of Canton and the Massachusetts State Police in federal court because the federal court does not have jurisdiction over those municipalities. Thank you, Denise Noel, who says, dream with your eyes open, as my father would say. Thank you for your 10. I appreciate you so much. And Yellow Led Betero says, you cannot just check yourself or relative into McLean. You go to the ER, and wherever or whenever a bed is open, you go. I begged to get a relative in. She ended up in Haverhill, and it was awful. The system is so broken. Oh, Nurse Kim is here too. Scott tells me, hi, Nurse Kimmy. Hi, Kimmy. Saw your pictures. You look beautiful. Saw her on Instagram. My gorgeous Kimmy. And also Broken Baker is here. So all stars in the house. Maybe Kimmy can let us know about Haverhill, about the hospital there. Because Kimmy, as you know, is a nurse. She's Nurse Kim, after all. HB Sunrider says, I'm happy Kelsey's team pointed out that Justin refused to come over and watch the baby the same day the order was served. That by itself proves he wasn't concerned about Kelsey harming the baby, right? And there was, Baker is gorgeous too. Baker is gorgeous. He's my Danish prince. Can I say that? Is that sexual harassment to call Broken Baker my Danish prince? And his followers, we're called cupcakes, and they're called muffin tops or muffins. I don't know. But Baker, you are now crowned my Danish prince. There was text messages supporting that we saw, one of the many filings in this case already, in which Kelsey said, can you please come watch the baby so I can go to CPR training at North Andover PD, because she was cleared to go back for work, which is one of her arguments that, look, they cleared me to go back to work. Dr. Zeisel says I'm fine. It was a transient condition. My other therapist, I harassed him. My other therapist says I'm fine. But there were text messages the day that she was to go to CPR training for her return to work, in which she said, can you please come and watch the baby so I can go to work? And he was like, no, I don't have any money for gas. And then they had some other arguments over text in which, it was like she was saying to him, Justin, it's not babysitting if it's your own child. So it did seem like he didn't want to come and even watch his own baby so she could go to work without the baby. And she wound up bringing the baby for CPR training to the North Andover PD. We also learned yesterday from Kelsey's papers that Michelle testified in her deposition for this case that she called a lieutenant at the North Andover Police Department to find out if Kelsey was there, and they told her that Kelsey was there. Like, all of these people, in my opinion, at North Andover PD were all working against Kelsey for some reason. It's wild. I don't get it. They were her coworkers. Crazy. And all of those crazy things that he say happened on the road, on the trip to Croatia, we read about in Kelsey's opposition last night. And according to Kelsey's version of that story about that Croatia trip, Justin's sister Ashley said to him before they went on that Croatia trip, why are you even bringing her? This is the family trip. We don't want her there. We don't want her to come. They were engaged, and Kelsey was pregnant with Justin's baby. And she was going on 6-mile hikes, and she was pregnant. And the family was saying things like, 5 months isn't even that, or 20 weeks isn't even that pregnant. Anyone who's been pregnant knows that you have no energy. Like, growing a baby inside of you is exhausting. And she was expected to go on 6-mile hikes and early mornings and late. And then they were like, oh, she's ruining our trip. She's ruining our time. Why does she always have a puss on? That it was gross. It's gross. They didn't want her around. Seems like they've had it in for Kelsey since before they even got married. And they didn't get married. They were supposed to get married in October. And so, I don't know. Was this the plan all along? That's not a question I can answer. But we do know from a deep dive into the parents that many of you have told me about, Justin's parents were involved in an organization that has to do with addiction and addiction in the family, and that Justin's parents would teach people how to get their loved ones involuntarily committed for things like addiction. They're familiar with the court system. We also learned from Justin's testimony at Kelsey's criminal trial that he, after getting his college degree, went to Utah and worked at a teen torture camp. I mean, wilderness camp in Utah as a counselor. If anybody's ever seen Paris Hilton's documentary on YouTube, he will tell you everything about what goes on at those wilderness camps and the other troubled teen camps in Utah, and how she spent time there and ran away from a couple and was tortured there and naked in a hole for weeks and days. And it's horrific. Gave me a whole new insight into Paris Hilton. Highly recommend. It's on YouTube. It's the Paris Hilton documentary. And she has done things like testifying in front of Congress to try and make some changes in the troubled teen industry, because these places are not regulated. There are no medical providers working there. And they prey on families who have a lot of money, who can't deal with their teenagers, and they send them to these camps, and the torture that they have endured there, and the SA and the other kind of abuse is horrific. Health Camp on Netflix. Very sad story. Thank you, PHC. There's many other cases happening in the courtroom. That's why we are waiting for the Law Girls Not Attorneys to put up their stream, because they are there with justice served. And there's no mainstream media. 1 minute ago, Justice Served tweeted that the judge told the dad, in this case being heard right now, different case, she gives 10 minutes to each side for a motion. I suspect that general rule might blow up with the Fitzsimmons case. So we're still waiting. Oh, and 10 minutes ago, the bailiff told everybody, if you're here supporting someone, wait outside until the matter is called. So all of the Kelsey Fitzsimmons, I guess, purple wearing supporters were told to wait in the hall until the case was called, because I guess they were taking up too many seats in the courtroom, because there's a lot of people supporting Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Hey, Brett, it's the same one. I think it's the same one, unless there's a new one. The Paris Hilton doc came out a couple of years ago, before she even had kids, and now she's got a couple of kids. Oh, Tony says there's also a great documentary called The Program, made by a survivor of one of the camps. Please. Why don't I put a little scrolling banner at the bottom so that people who come in will see that we are waiting for the hearing to start. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Some people say they can't see the banner, but let's do it anyway. Here we go. Here we go. We've only been waiting an hour and a half, but it's not the only case on the calendar today. Veronica, they have other cases to take care of. She's not the only case in the courtroom today. So you didn't miss a thing. If you're just tuning in, did not miss a thing. Fairy Raven is here from Ireland, and she said, I read Paris's book and was horrified. I found a new respect for her, although I didn't really have an opinion on her before. Thought she was just a rich kid. While we're waiting, it's a good time for you to go over and give Law Girls Not Attorneys YouTube channel a like and a sub, because they're doing the Lord's work by getting permission to stream for us. There's no mainstream media there, from what I understand, from what Michael at Justice Served TV has said. And they deserve some flowers. Nurse Kim is one of the best. I wholeheartedly agree, and I will allow it. Refresh, just in case. Okay, there we go. Tony says border collie puppy was up barking until 1 a.m. because there was wind, and I'm in California, so it's very early for me, but happy to be here. Oh, thank you very much for your 10. I love border collies. I love border collies. This was some of the smartest dogs out there, right? Love, love, love. Thanks for your 10. Martina is in New Zealand, and she just woke up. Don't worry, you didn't miss a thing. Thanks for tuning in from down under, and thank you so much for your super chat. Anybody want to fill in for me? Do you think it's easy to burn an hour and a half of dead air before the hearing even starts, especially after all the reading I did last night? It's not easy. It's not easy. Cheech wasn't able to attend today, so she's very glad that we're streaming it live. We will be. We will be at some point. When it starts. Again, I'm going to complain again into the ether because nobody's going to listen to me, but here's the thing. I didn't do my hair this morning. Me neither. That's why I put a hat on, Scott. Thanks, Cheech. As you may or may not know, Law and Crime Network, which is owned by Dan Abrams, or he's one of the higher ups there, bought Court TV. And so now Law and Crime and Court TV are all under the same umbrella. Vinnie Politan is an investor in Court TV, and that is why he is one of the few anchors who were not fired from Court TV. Pretty much everyone else is gone. And everyone else is gone except for maybe Ted Rowlands, and I forget who else. And what is making me really mad is just one of the things making me really mad is that Law and Crime and Court TV on YouTube are both streaming the same trials. Why? Why would you do that? Why don't you cater to more of the trial watching audience? Because you know you got a big audience. Why doesn't Court TV stream 2 trials and then Law and Crime stream 2 different trials? You have twice the staff now. Can you find other trials that your viewers might be interested in watching other than the 2 that you're streaming right now? Could you maybe find a different 2? Why are you splitting up your audience? Yeah, Julie Grant was fired. Oops. Because they fired everyone, says Magnolia Rose. Yes, but not the camera people. They still have the equipment, right? They still have the equipment. I mean, how many people do you need in a courtroom to stream a trial? A sound person, a camera person, maybe one other person. It's not like you're paying on-air talent at this point because you got nobody. I don't even know that they're doing live. Are they doing live programming anymore? I don't even know. Live programming. I don't even know. Boy, did Julie Grant hate Karen Reed. Ooh, did she hate Karen Reed? I watched Vinny's explanation, but somebody asked him that question in the chat and said, why don't they stream different trials? And he didn't have an answer for it, unless he spoke to it after that. I did hear that he is an investor in Court TV, which I did not know. And I love Vinny. You know how I love Vinny. I've loved Vinny since the 90s. That's no secret. But I don't know that he had an explanation for why they're streaming the same trials on both channels. Here's my Danish king, my Danish prince coming in and say, but Julie Grant has landed on her feet. She streams with Coffin Duffy. Has she done more than one show with her? I saw they did one show. It was like Coffee Talk. It was like Coffee Talk with Jules and Jenny, with Jenny and Jules. And they were both wearing pink. They were both wearing pink. It was wild. I was like, wow. For the 2 of them who complained about the pink people for the entirety of the Karen Reed trial, those 2 were having coffee talk and wearing pink. I mean, I don't even want to give a view, but I'm going to just show you like a still shot from it. Because you can't make it up. You can't. At this point, you can't make anything up. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know that they've done more than one. I don't even know what she's talking about lately. Oh, Nancy Guthrie. That's a big topic for her. A lot of Nancy Guthrie shows. People were really eating up anything on Nancy Guthrie, and then all of a sudden it's just, there's nothing. What do you think happened to Nancy Guthrie? Where's Nancy? Still no Nancy. Yes, Cheech, we covered. You could rewind. You could rewind to when the papers are on the screen. Was it even a live stream that she did? The Coffee Talk one? I mean, there's like, she's in Mexico, you think? People think the sheriff screwed that case up from the beginning. Oh, that's right, too. Kerry Roberts also wore pink on her interview. It was crazy. For all the people who were complaining about the supporters of Karen Reed wearing pink, they all picked pink for their interviews. It was wild, right? Scott's opinion, he's 25 years on the job, retired from NYPD, says, in my opinion, it was a cartel and the sheriff screwed it up. Could be. Could be. Speedy and Turbo's mom says they still haven't found Jennifer Dulos either. Yeah. All right, just here we're going to just look at a still shot from the Coffee Talk episode with Julie Grant and the woman who shall not be named on this channel, who is former FBI. And this is from March 25th. And there they are, both wearing pink. Isn't it ironic, don't you think? I mean, and like a bold pink too. Air quotes. FBI. Isn't that crazy? After all the things, remember how Julie Grant was trashing Karen Reed's trial outfits? Saying that they were inappropriate to wear to court. And basically, like slut shaming her. Did I imagine that or did that really happen? Pretty sure it really happened. They're reclaiming their pink. It's hot pink. Her Botox hasn't worn off. Listen, no shade to anybody who uses Botox. Do whatever you want to do to make yourself feel better. I don't shame people for using Botox. Whatever you want to do to make yourself feel better, look better. Listen, some people just give up. There's some women who just give up with their looks. Whatever you got to do to make yourself feel better. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Wait a second. Did they move to a different stream? It looks like maybe I don't know. I'm going to have to put both of them up in my browser just in case the other one comes on. But we're here for it. Hold, please. Well, it says this one's live right now, so. This is the one that we're going to wait for. They're still on another case as of 1 minute ago. Ms. Mojo Horizon says, hi, Melanie. I'm a different Ms. Mojo Horizon, but I wanted to say you remind me of my late mother, and you're such an amazing, strong person. Godspeed, and I love you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your 5. Linda F says, thanks for all you do, Melanie. Thanks for being here for 8 months. Linda. Lawyer Jordan said, did you watch Vinny's explanation? Oh, yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Hoover Maneuver's been here for a month. Welcome. Thank you. Seize the day. Up early to be with Queen Mel and send love and strength. Where are you? Are you on the West Coast? He's been here for 5 or in Hawaii. Karen DePasquale gifted another 5 memberships just 7 minutes ago. Thank you, Karen. She's already gifted at least 5 today. She's super generous and amazing, and we love you so much. When I say we, I mean I. Thank you. And Job, thanks for becoming a member. And Nicole says 8,000 watching. Hit the like button, peeps. Yeah, almost 8,300. Let's go. Hit the like button. We should have 8,300 likes. It's just like the courteous thing to do. It's kind of like wiping your feet when you walk into someone's house. You know, you wipe your feet on the mat. It's like the polite thing to do. All right, I think we can take Afro Man down for now. Here's a good one. I like that. We'll put that up there for a little while. Oh, funny. Stop interrupting me with spam calls. Thank you. Nurse Kim is just beautiful, period. Agreed. Well, Julie never worked for the FBI. But that's okay. You can talk in code because I don't let that other woman's name be mentioned on my channel ever since she tried to shame me on court TV because I said that it was clear that John O'Keefe's injuries to his right arm came from an animal attack. That was all the way back in January of 2024. But, you know, he's still sticking to that story. You heard Adam Deitch say that if he gets elected, he's going to reopen the case. We just watched that video. So prayers up for Norfolk County that it gets that they decide to vote for Adam Deitch and he replaces Michael Marcy. That'd be so great. Oh my goodness, Erica Freider gifted 20 memberships. Thank you, Erica. There's a lot of new members today. If you are a new member, welcome. And check out the special emojis that we have for members. That's a perk. There's lots of them. There's Grateful Dead ones. We have a dancing bear and a Steely and a Colorado Buffs logo. Sco Buffs. It's my alma mater. Alice, because oftentimes I fall into rabbit holes and say, call me Alice. Many of our emojis were especially curated for the Karen Reed trial, including We Are Outraged, The Twilight Zone, Lies, Lies, Lies by the Thompson Twins. Nope. Remember that? Nope. I guess the homeowner is going to catch a lot of shit too, huh? Nope. He's a Boston cop too. That's where that came from. The loud sigh emoji for Judge Cannone. Smooth as butter for Alan Jackson. What, if any? Oh, there's a fan. There's a puffy jacket. Remember Timothy Nuttall and how he was so set on John O'Keefe having worn a puffy jacket when he found him? He even remembers because he said he had to cut off the puffy jacket and it exploded and all the feathers came out. We have a leaf blower because, you know, obvi. A Dave Matthews fire dancer because I love Dave Matthews and that's my entire background. His old Dave Matthews posters. And so we also have the, oh yes, Boss Baby. Boss Baby was for the Robert Tellis trial in Las Vegas because his employees that he allegedly sexually harassed, they called him Boss Baby. But we've used Boss Baby. We've repurposed Boss Baby for a lot of things, right? I think at one point, who else did we use for Boss Baby? The WD-40 was for the squeaky court door in one of the trials, but we've used that for other things like greasing people up, a little grease. Sometimes you got to grease the wheel. Boss Baby was epic. Rest in peace, Jeff Gehrman. Thank you, Erica, once again for gifting 20. You're amazing. That was like a horrific case of Boss Baby in his costume with his very obvious gait pattern in the, in the neighborhood, wearing like a costume, like he was like a beekeeper or a construction worker, and everything was on video. It was like a palate cleanser for us. And every now and then we need one. That's what Afro Man was too. Afro Man started out being a palate cleanser trial and then turned out to be, in my opinion, one of the most important First Amendment cases that we've seen together. Afro Man, the face of the First Amendment. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thunk it? Oh, yes, his narrative. Oh, Cardi B was also. Yep, Cardi B was also a palate cleanser trial. In fact, I have her as one of my media assets here because I don't like her music. I'm not a fan of her music, but her trial was epic. And here's a little soundbite for you.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, I'm here.
I will never not find that funny. The plaintiff's attorney in that case, in which Cardi B was sued, said, sometimes, your hair is blonde and sometimes it's black and sometimes it's another color. Like yesterday, your hair was blonde and today it's black. What color is your hair really? And she said something like, it's a wig. Hello. I think that's what it was that she said that was in response to. But Cardi B is a really funny person, IRL. All roads lead back to Tully, says Caitlin Ann. I'll die on this hill. You might not die there alone. I don't think you'll die on that hill because I think you're right. I happen to think that you're right. Carrie says, so Justin pretty much filed the emergency order. You mean the 209 initial restraining order, all because it was the only way to stop Kelsey from going to New Hampshire with the baby. That's absolutely insane. All of this just for that. I mean, that's what he wants us to believe, right? But here's the thing. He warned North Andover PD that when they served this order, it would be very likely that Kelsey would either try to kill you or herself. And so was it remember the Donna Adelson case with the bump? Was it a bump? I don't know. But the North Andover PD was on notice that such a tragic event would likely occur. And even though they were told that by Justin, and we've heard the tapes, they did nothing to secure her weapons. They didn't bring a social worker or somebody from DCF to come and keep things, peaceful. It was handled very poorly. And Justin predicted that it was going to happen, right? Still other hearings happening in the courtroom, and so we wait. And the cases keep coming. This is family court every day. Every day. Casey says, how mad is Donna Adelson that she fell for the bump? She thought she was so smart for all those years. She really did. And how many years did it take for Donna Adelson to be arrested after the murder of Dan Markel? Tell me how long? How many years did it take? There's no statute of limitations on murder. You're never scot-free. I didn't follow Donna Adelson that carefully, but it was no, the Michael Easter report is too long to cover while we're waiting. It's too long. It's like 20 pages or more. So I would not be doing it a service. We're just going to chit chat while we're waiting, even though my voice is killing me. 10 years, 10 or 11 years. 10 or 11 years for Donna Adelson to be arrested. 9 to be arrested, says Gray Space. 11 to be convicted. Oh, thank you. Darlene says it was 10 years. 10 or 11. Either way. Hey, it's me. Says, of the cases you've covered, which ones have affected you the most? That's a great question. Let me look back at my list because I think, first of all, I'm very careful. I'm not careful, but I'm very selective about the cases that I choose to cover. And I typically choose to cover them because I find them interesting, that there's some sort of like legal nuance, or maybe the person really didn't do it, or, there's a good argument to be made that the state doesn't have enough proof, and they don't meet their burden, or it involves children being tried as adults. So I don't cover things just because they're popular. If I did, then I would have absolutely streamed Donna Adelson and Corey Richins, but I hadn't covered the Adelsons ever. And so for me to jump in at that point was kind of like, I didn't think it was interesting for me. And Corey Richins just did not excite me because I just didn't. I don't know how to explain it, but let me take a look. I mean, Karen Reed, obviously, because we lived through it twice. I mean, obviously, that was probably the most popular one that I've covered. And so I think that affected me in ways that made me understand that people can really make a difference, that so many people supporting a woman that they don't even know was so interesting to me, that thousands of people showed up for women they didn't even know because they were so disturbed by the fact that it was so obvious that John O'Keefe did not get hit by a car, and yet we watched Massachusetts double down and try her twice. Carly Gregg was a very difficult case to cover because Carly Gregg was 14 years old when she took her mother's life, and she was tried as an adult, and she has been sentenced in Mississippi to life without ever having the possibility of parole. It makes me twitch. Some people say that Ashley Benefield's case hit them the hardest. Edric Foss' case was really, I found that to be disturbing on many levels. It was like watching To Kill a Mockingbird in real life, in real time. And also the way the prosecutor tried that case about, Chris Melton was her boyfriend. So of course his DNA was supposed to be there in her private areas. There were so many questions. It was a cold case from, I forget what year, of Tara Baker, and rest in peace, Tara Baker. She didn't deserve that either. But I don't think Edric Foss had anything to do with it. They needed a guy to blame. They needed a reason. for having funded that cold case unit that was named after Tara Baker. And there was no black male DNA found inside that home. And there's no way that he wouldn't have left DNA in the home if he did commit the murder of Tara Baker in that home. And we are not done with that case yet. Lucy Medina trial was a great trial because we saw a different side of Hank Brennan. A lot of people say it was Faust. No house, no Faust. And so, I mean, different cases for different reasons. I thought Brian Walsh had interesting questions of law because I thought that the way that they got Brian Walsh's evidence was fruits of the poisonous tree. Because as we found out, the Massachusetts State Police in Norfolk County, the DA and Brian Walsh's attorney had an agreement on how much of Brian Walsh's phone they were allowed to search. And it was only for communications between Brian and Anna for a 1-week period. And they took his phone. They did a total phone extraction. They got his location data. They went around to the places where he was. They found surveillance video. And in my opinion, that was outside the scope of the consent warrant because they never got a real search warrant until after they had all of that information, including his Google searches. That, in my opinion, were also obtained outside the scope of the warrant, fruits of the poisonous tree. Oh, the Brian Camp trial. The Brian Camp trial was amazing. For those of you who didn't watch that, that was in Hampshire County. Brian Camp, 24-year-old little Brian Camp. Kathy from Gossip Room and Innuendo called him pocket-sized Brian Camp. Brian Camp was 24 years old, lived with his girlfriend and two little girls. And a home invader, a home intruder, broke into their house in the middle of the night. Brian Camp is naked in bed with his girlfriend, Brooke. He wakes up and there's a man on top of him trying to kill him, slamming his head against the wall. The man is like twice his size, let's just say, for purposes of this summary. This is in Hampshire County. This is how we found Tom Kokanowski, one of our favorite defense attorneys in Massachusetts, because he represented Brian Camp. Somehow, Brian Camp is able to struggle with this man and get all the way downstairs where he gets a hold of Brian Camp, a rickety old rifle. Kathy's, that's where we met Kathy from Gossip Rumor and Innuendo. And somehow, some way, he was able to shoot the man that was trying to kill him. And then the man was on the kitchen floor, and Brooke woke up and she ran outside and she was calling 911. And where they lived in Hampshire County was very, 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 very difficult to get to, apparently. I mean, in the middle of the boonies, maybe. And it took law enforcement something like over 20 minutes to get there. And Brooke is on the phone with the 911 operator the whole time. And at one point, the 911 operator tells Brooke to tell Brian to go back in the house and check on the condition of the man that he shot with the rickety rifle. And when he went in there, the guy started coming for him again, so Brian shot him again. Well, the Hampshire County DA thought it'd be a great idea to charge Brian Camp with killing the home intruder and actually said, well, the first shot was okay, but the second shot, no, you shouldn't have fired the second shot. The trial was one that Massachusetts didn't want you to see. We had to cobble together some footage, but that was wild. And then Brian Camp testified. And what an amazing job that Tom Kokanowski did prepping him for his testimony, because he was a great witness on his own behalf. And we had some boots on the ground there who were actually talking to Brian Camp while they were waiting for the verdict to come in, showing him funny videos, trying to distract him. And the jury came back and acquitted Brian Camp in Hampshire County. And we cried collective tears because Brian Camp became like our adopted son. If you haven't watched it, I have a playlist on it. It's only like 4 videos maybe. But I mean, that just opened my eyes about what Massachusetts did not want you to see. And like you're killing a home intruder. Many states have the castle doctrine or the make my day law, they call it in Colorado, where if you come into my house or on my property, I can shoot you. Okay, that's the way it goes. Thank you, Hates Me, for opening up a fascinating conversation. Penny McGee. Let's talk about Penny McGee. We're still waiting for this hearing to start, so we're filling time. Penny McGee is a woman who was married to a very rich, influential man by the name of Andrew Savitz, whose two brothers are like hedge fund managers who were far, far richer than Andrew Savitz was. But Penny McGee was a woman. They called her a socialite from Rhode Island. And Penny McGee was on trial for manslaughter in Norfolk County, represented by Larry Tipton, who represented Brian Walsh, who we love. And she had a bench trial in front of Judge Cannoni. And this was, I think, in between Karen Reed trial number 1 and Karen Reed trial number 2. Penny McGee was on trial for manslaughter after having a verbal argument with her ex-husband at the time, Andrew Savitz, in the foyer of a house that she was staying in with him. They argued. Maybe it got loud. Maybe it was stressful for Andrew. Maybe Penny McGee might have shoved him. According to Penny McGee, he was slamming her head against the counter and slamming her into the refrigerator. But Zuzi, Penny McGee's daughter, who didn't like Penny because she thought it was her mother was the reason that her parents got divorced. After this verbal argument, Andrew Savitz dropped dead of a heart attack in the foyer. A heart attack. That was his cause of death. He also had many pre-existing conditions, including diabetes. He had been in a couple of bad car accidents. He had some cognitive difficulties, and he had many other underlying conditions. The medical examiner for Massachusetts, what was her name? Rebecca Diedrich. I think I'll never forget this case. Stated in her autopsy report that it was a homicide because, according to her handbook for being a medical examiner in Massachusetts, if there was another person present when the person died, you could call it a homicide. So she did. He had a serious widowmaker. Yep. He had something like an 80% occlusion or 90% occlusion of both ascending arteries. Like it was bad. Court starts when all the other cases are done. That's when it's supposed to start, 9:30. Not my fault. Penny McGee was on trial for manslaughter. Larry Tipton, who was a private defense attorney, but sometimes does public defender work, agreed because she had no money left to take her case as a public defender. And that case was wild. That's a short case too. It's a short trial. But we watched Judge Cannoni from the bench acquit Penny McGee of manslaughter. And we cried. You missed nothing, Emily, because it still didn't happen yet. We're waiting. Other cases are still being called. You missed not a damn thing. I guess you're going to be posting about what happened at Farwell's hearing, and I can't wait to hear it. This was supposed to start at 10. It's now 11:49 here. Law Girls has their camera up, but they can't put it on until the Fitzsimmons case is called. All of the supporters have been asked to wait in the hallway. So Penny McGee was wild too. If you haven't watched it, you should. Thank you. Karen says, judge in Farwell case has taken the bail request under advisement. Yeah. I don't think he's going to let Farwell out on bail. Do you? No way. KBD, we covered that earlier this morning. Thank you for telling me. You can rewind if you'd like to watch my coverage on it. Judge Doolin has allowed Karen Reed to be able to use Proctor's texts in her new lawsuit that is yet to be filed against the town of Canton and Massachusetts State Police. So we'll see. Oh, did Scott McGinnis, were you there too? A lot of boots on the ground today for Farwell in federal court. I mean, for Sandra Birchmore, but Farwell's the defendant. So there's that. Oh, you know what? Here's the thing. Cats, Coffee, Cocktails, and Crime says I would watch Penny, but I can't with Auntie Bev. For those of you who watched Penny McGay, she really didn't insert herself into that trial the way that she did during the Karen Reed trials. She really didn't. It was a different side of her. So I would say give it a shot. So thank you for that. Dialogue hates me, and you're 10. Carrie says, I can't grasp how Justin can say the things he says about Kelsey in his filings when we've all seen the videos of him falling and talking trash and smoking in the shed. The audacity. Thanks, Carrie, for your 10. Shop and Tan for me says, please follow AJ's new case with Fraser Bohm, and AJ may use ARCA. Is he still handling Fraser Bohm? Because last time Fraser Bohm was in court, there was another attorney there. So I don't know. It's California, so there's not always cameras in the courtroom. I was covering Nick Reiner, and then he's not on that case anymore. And there's not always cameras in the courtroom. Thank you for your 10, Shop and Tan for me. You still handling it? Okay, cool. Motion to Chat became a new member. Welcome. 18 Wheeler says, we don't jump bandwagons. We are the bandwagon. It's my guy, my favorite 18 Wheeler trucker. Thanks for your super sticker on top. Becky says, my accountant just called. It's a refund. Thanks for being my legal go-to with Style and Grace. I love you. Oh my God. Congratulations on your refund. Cajun Butterfly became a new member. Welcome. For those of you who didn't know, Kelsey did get to see her baby on Saturday, just this past Saturday, for 2.5 or 2 hours at the office of Justin's attorney. Will I cover the Ken Mello arraignment? Oh, I wouldn't miss it for the world. Hopefully they're going to have cameras in there or a Zoom. Hopefully. For those of you who don't know, Ken Mello was a patient at an emergency room in Bristol County. Apparently he lives in Fall River, and he was a patient in the emergency room, and he threatened one of the nurses. I don't know why he was there, and we shouldn't know. It's HIPAA. But apparently he wanted them to wheel him out to his car in a stretcher because he was in pain. And the nurse said to him, oh, sir, I'll put a pillow with you in the wheelchair. It's only a 5-minute transport to your car. And Ken Mello allegedly said to the nurse, how about I stab you in the back for 5 minutes? How about that? And at one point he said to her, you don't even deserve to be a nurse. You should be a medical technician or something like that. And he has been charged with threatening to commit a crime because you just can't make it up in Massachusetts. You just can't make it up. So apparently he still is among the living. He's going to be arraigned in, I forget, I have it on my calendar. Yep, that is Turtle Boy's Ken Mello, the special persecutor in the Turtle Boy case. Oops. Yeah, and that's, she says, KBD says, my daughter and my sister-in-law have both worked at Charlton Memorial Hospital where that happened. Yeah, and it just reminded me, because I'm a big fan of The Pit. Does anybody watch The Pit? That if Nurse Dana was the charge nurse that night at the hospital, boy, Ken Mello would have been in for some shit. Right? He should be charged. Listen, healthcare workers, in a lot of states, it's a felony to assault a healthcare worker. Like you can't do that. Or he threatened, but you know. Crazy. Love The Pit. A lot of people love The Pit. Zero tolerance. There should be zero tolerance for that. Coffee with Cupcakes says, as a nurse, I'll allow that charge. You know, we have a lot of nurses in the chat, a lot. Nurses are huge supporters here. We also have a lot of post office workers and mail carriers in the chat. A lot of truck drivers. A lot of people who know a lot of stuff about a lot of things. Zoe says, I wonder if Mello treats Cosgrove similarly when he calls looking for the case file materials and evidence that Mello is still said to be holding on to, right? He doesn't know how to work the internet. The status on Farwell is the judge has taken it under advisement whether or not she will allow Farwell out on bail, awaiting his trial. Connie, so Fancy says, MRI technologist here, signs all over our pediatric hospital about hostile behavior is not tolerated. Don't mess with us. We save lives. That's right. And here also, my emotional support paralegal is here. Dad. He knows everything. He gets snarky in the chat sometimes because he knows what's up. You can tag him if you have questions on procedure in Massachusetts because he knows everything about everything. He's my emotional support paralegal, Dad. I'll allow it. No house, no foul says nurse here and husband is a mail carrier. Double down. Told you. Look at Andy says guilty mail carrier. Forget it. You guys are doing the Lord's work. Are you kidding? In all the weather, you're out there delivering the mail. Oh, right. Ms. Butler says, I think it was even nastier of Mello to threaten the nurse with, I'm an attorney. Yeah, it was kind of like, don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am? Home Slice says, I work from home all day. This corner of the internet gives content from morning till night. It's true. I feel like it's going to be nighttime before they call the Fitzsimmons case. I feel like that. As you see, scrolling at the top of the Law Girls feed is their contribution links for Venmo, Cash App, etc. I would kindly suggest that you support their channel because without them being there today, we wouldn't have a feed at all. And they travel far and wide. They need gas money. Hi, Sandra. Question, did the judge decide if Karen's getting her phones back? Well, yeah, the judge said Karen could get her phones back, but the Commonwealth could hold on to the phones pending an appeal. And so we don't know if Cosgrove has appealed yet. I didn't see a notice of appeal on that. I don't know if you did, Dad, but I know we would both have it if it was filed. So we don't know. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for loving me. I appreciate you so much. Rock Chick, I love you more. Thank you for being here for 6 months. Cats, Coffee, Cocktails, and Crime. Thanks for your 5. Regular RN became a member, as did another nurse. See, I told you. Cajun Butterfly. Welcome. Kiki says, I'm betting Dr. Robbie will foster and eventually adopt baby Jane Doe. Totally. At first, I was kind of annoyed. I was like, what? This isn't a cliffhanger. Why is there no cliffhanger here? And then at the end, I realized, all right, if you don't want the spoiler on the Pit finale, mute me right now. Notice appeal was not filed, says Dad. Mute. I think Dr. Robbie, at the end, when he was holding baby Jane Doe, he found a reason to live. That's what I think. And I agree. I think baby Jane Doe is going to be Dr. Robbie's reason to live. Because we all know, or I knew from like episode 1, that he kept that he was definitely thinking about taking his own life on his 3-month motorcycle helmetless journey. That's what I think. Yes, Dr. Mel King is Bryan Cranston's daughter. Isn't that wild? Oh, please. The Pit is an amazing series on HBO. Okay, here's, if I give the peace sign, it means you can unmute. That is what the most realistic hospital show that has ever aired, ever. Every season is 1 day in the emergency room. It's emergency room only. And the characters come and go. There's interns, there's residents, there's doctors, there's a charge nurse. It's been winning all of the awards. And it is the most realistic hospital show that has ever aired. And I know we have a lot of doctors and nurses in the chat and people who work in hospitals. Am I right? And what I've learned from my deep dive into the Pit, because I find it fascinating, is that The actors are all trained on all of the procedures that they're doing in the ER, all the intubations, C-sections, all the procedures you see them performing in the show. They are taught how to really do them. And during the filming of the show, when they're going to do a medical procedure, like recently they did a C-section on the show, the director leaves the room and a real doctor comes in to direct the scene. It's fascinating. It's amazing. I love it. And every episode is 1 hour in the emergency room. Hellfish Haven says 5,000 of y'all need to stop, hit the like, and return to the chat. Thank you for streaming and bringing attention to the Commonwealth, corruption, and more. Thank you very much for your $10 super chat. Nicole says, Justin and family fail to realize the more you keep a child from their mother or badmouth, what you create is resentment, trauma, and confusion. Thank you, Nicole, for being the voice of reason during all the noise in this case. CCC Go says, CASA volunteer here. We need more advocates for kids in the court system. Reunification is the number one goal. Hopefully, same goal in Massachusetts as in Colorado. Prayers for Kelsey Fitzsimmons. I will add, let's go, Avs, Sco Buffs. And CASA is not in every state. But thank you for doing the Lord's work and for volunteering. And for your time. The Watcher says, how am I over 2 hours late and it hasn't started? Because family court's busy. There's a lot of cases on the docket today. And law girls will not turn their camera on until Kelsey Fitzsimmons' case is called. And also, all of the supporters have been asked to leave and go in the hallway until the case is called. It's not my fault. Justice served is there, and he says this judge is a grinder. He's lost count of how many other cases have been called so far. At least 12. We get what we get, and we don't get upset. Thanks for being with me for 15 months. So if you're late, don't worry. You didn't miss a thing, except some chit-chat. Sasha's dog mom says there's a case out of Kenosha, Wisconsin you may be interested in where Michaela Plaza was unalived in front of her kids by her ex after a denied restraining order you may be interested in. I say this all the time. A restraining order is just a piece of paper. Just a piece of paper. Is this coming up for trial? Is the trial starting? Thank you, Sasha's dog mom, for your 10. Did it just happen? Pollyanna says, have you seen the Almost Alice house on Zillow? It made me think of you. It's all Alice in Wonderland. No, I didn't see it. Can you shoot me a link in an email? Fanbase@mlittlelaw.com. That would be a fun thing to listen to. To watch while we're waiting. Thank you, Pollyanna, for your super chat. And call me Alice. Somebody else was telling me something about the TikTok driver. Not the TikTok. It was like a DoorDash driver, a woman. I didn't have a chance to look into that yet. But let me tell you, I'm going to scroll back in the chat to see what you guys are saying about the pit. Oh, it just happened? Okay, thank you. 25 years on the job. If you can't hear Melanie, go out and come back because we hear her. Some people just like to come in and disrupt and say you're muted or whatever, just to, I don't know, annoy me. There are trolls that like to do that, but I don't think anybody in here is a troll doing that. But it's a well-known thing that people do on the tubes of you. And Piccolo says, I started the second season of The Pit 2 nights ago so I can watch them all one after the other. So fun. I know it's one of the last remaining shows where it's on HBO Max, right? Season 1 though was somewhere else. Was it all on HBO? I don't know. It's one of the few shows now that drops every week. Family Court's probably going to break for lunch soon. Just saying. I don't know. We'll see. Whatever happens, happens. Misbehaving in Florida says Florida has volunteer guardian ad litems, and I did that for several years. They had some paid guardian ad litems, but mainly supervisors when I did it. Thanks for doing the Lord's work. Yeah, mute time has been over since the peace. Since peace. I'm not muted, but thank you, Bonita. Could this be on purpose, the long wait? No, they had at least 12 or 15 other cases on the calendar. And so could it be on purpose that they're going to hear this one last? Yes, because there's, I don't know how many boots on the ground there in the courtroom that are all waiting in the hall until they're going to call Fitzsimmons. But I don't think it's like on purpose, like as if it's some sort of like punishment or anything like that. It's a busy courtroom. Only half of the people that are here have hit the like button. That's not nice. Thanks, Fairy Raven. Huh. Oh, you're talking about the DoorDash driver. Okay, thank you. Karen says, some guy passed out drunk on his couch with his pants down after ordering DoorDash. She filed a complaint for sexual harassment and ended up getting charged herself for wire fraud because she posted it on TikTok. Well, you can't make that up. If it's lunchtime, they will let us know because there's boots on the ground that are tweeting live. There's been 12 cases heard already. We're not used to waiting because usually the cases that we cover are the only case on the docket at the time. But the family court's a whole different animal. Somebody tell Lauren we know. Listen, you can't show up 2.5 hours late and then try and break some news for us because we're on top of every single thing that breaks. We've already covered it. Boris says, unrelated, but thanks for covering the list and giving John Ray his flowers. I know. Thank you. And we also talked about the Peacock documentary. That was wild, episode 4 of that Peacock documentary. Boris, did you watch it? Thank you for your 5. Thanks for giving me another talking point. I appreciate it. They could be talking about an agreement. Yeah, they could be. They'll go on the record probably if they do. Anyway, in any event, they're going to go on the record because they're there. They're not just going to adjourn it. Thanks, Carrie, for your 10. Carrie says, thank you for always keeping me busy while I'm working. Love you. I love you too. Oh, episode 4 is the best. If you know a lot about the list case, thank you for your 20, Carrie. I really appreciate it. If you know a lot about the list case and a lot about the history of the Gilgo 4 and all of the women that Rex Heuermann has pled guilty to murdering, the first 3 episodes came out a year ago. I didn't realize that because I never watched it. The 4th episode just came out, and that is all about Rex Heuermann confessing to his family and agreeing to answer any questions they wanted answered, something like 8 months before he pled guilty. And we also learned that Asa Ellerup, well, we learned that he killed 7 of those women of the 8 he pled guilty to in the home. He had a kill room and a 4-day kill plan. And we also learned that Asa, and that was his childhood bedroom, that kill room. I'm going to tweet again. I'm going to twitch again. And that Asa Ellerup has redone the basement and has made her bedroom in the basement in the kill room. Uh-huh. The name of it, Marissa, is the Gilgo Beach Killer House of Secrets. It's on Peacock. And the Peacock cameras were following Asa around since almost right after Rex Heuermann's arrest. And episode 4 just dropped. Today's the 28th, on the 23rd. Highly recommend. It was well done. Brandon says, Mel, what's your opinion on the Bruins tonight? This can be sports talk. Also, yeah, we talked about that in the beginning. I said tonight might be the last night that I wear my Bruins cap for the year, and I'm going to have to put it away. Good thing I also have an Avalanche cap. Can you put some brooms in the chat? I don't know, man. They were not looking good the other night. Maybe they'll rally. They got to win all the rest of the games. Do you see it happening? You tell me. I mean, I thought the other night they deserved to lose. Like, they just were not playing. But you can tell me what you think. But we're going to watch tonight regardless. So there's that. Tell me what you think. Can the Bruins do it? I mean, they didn't deserve to win the other night, in my opinion. They need to get some fire in their belly back. Otherwise, it's going to be, everybody's going to be crying. It's 7:30. I said it was tonight at 7. It's 7:30. Bruins, Sabres. Buffalo leads 3-1. It's the best of 7 now. It used to be, I think it used to be the best of 5. So the Bruins need to win next 3 games in a row to move on. And I just don't think that's going to happen. You could tell me. We ain't got no quit. Reclined Law Junkie says we ain't got no quit. Scott says if the Bruins don't change their lineup tonight, they're done. Pitt has 1 fighter and Boston 3, if not more. Bad lineup. Connie So Fancy says, my husband was so disgusted in their performance last game. Swayman was yelling at the bench when he was taken out. Michelle says they need to send you a Vegas Knights hat. Hey, I'm rooting for them too. That's okay. I'll get one. Because John Tortorella, who used to coach the Islanders, is the coach of the Vegas Knights now, and I'm totally rooting for them too. The Rangers sucked this year, so I've moved on. Thank you. Thank you, Dale, who says, respectfully, anyone complaining about the wait should remember Melanie doesn't control the court, and you're choosing to wait instead of doing something else. So many people rage clean. So many people have started doing diamond painting art or something that to me looks very stressful, but you guys say it's relaxing. A lot of you rage clean. A lot of you rage crochet. We have a rage crochet club here. That is a thing. You can join if you want. It's not really official, but they do rage crochet. Carrie, I think I already thanked you, but I'm going to thank you again. Happy to keep you busy while you're working. And Melissa Garcia says, my dad can't watch. His C virus PTSD kicks in. He went to help the Navajo people in 19. He got infected and he hasn't been the same. Show is too real. Oh, you're talking about the pit. Thank you, Melissa, for your 5. I'm so sorry about your dad. Oh, Gigi's here and she's gifted 5 memberships. People were asking if you're feeling better, Gigi. Let them know in the chat. They're very concerned about you. Love you so much. A lot of rage crocheting. And Tony says, I need to start doing some rage dishes right now. I'm not a rage cleaner. I don't like cleaning at all. I hate cleaning. Hate it. People are cooking. Yes, lots of other things. Lorelei says, my hobby is working. Yeah, my 18-wheeler guy says that rage driving is discouraged totally. I'm not encouraging that at all. How many of you, all right, here's a poll. How many of you, I said this the other day, because YouTube is trying to push you away from long form content and they're trying to push you onto shorts and AI type videos. And a lot of people like come into my shows and they complain in the comments that it's too long. My intro is too long and I don't have time to watch this whole thing. Can't you just do a quick video? And the answer is no. The answer is no, I can't. I can't because I hate editing, and it would take me longer to record a 1-hour video for you and put it out there because I would edit it into oblivion and try and make it perfect than coming on here and doing 6 hours live is so much easier because I don't have to edit it. So YouTube's trying to push you away from that. And so I'm glad that you like it. Yes. Yes. Oh, for those of you who are thinking about going to Dave in Mexico, it's Cancun actually. Goose is going to be playing with Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds in Cancun. So for those of you who have I went to Cancun with Melanie Little sweatshirts, that's where it came from. Grant Smith Ellis. Like Afro Man, I think I did it first. I made merch when people started trolling me. There was some rumor because I said I went to Cancun to see Dave Matthews. This was in 2024. I go every year. It's in January. And we were watching a Karen Reed hearing, and Alan Jackson had like this cool bracelet. It was like a hippie bracelet. We learned more about his bracelets during an interview that he did like years later. And I said, wow, that bracelet is so cool. It looks like a bracelet that I got when I saw Dave Matthews in Cancun last week or whatever. And it turned into this troll rumor that Melanie Little was in Cancun with Alan Jackson. And I don't remember who started it or who did, but Grant Smith Ellis, who used to be on the other side of Free Karen Reed, now he totally knows that he was duped, ran after Alan Jackson on the courthouse steps and literally shoved a mic in his face and said to Alan Jackson, "Did you have fun in Cancun with Melanie Little?" It was wild. So what did I do? I made merch. And the merch says I went to Cancun with attorney Melanie Little. And we've had it for a couple of years now because when the trolls be trolling, we make merch. No crying on the yacht either. No crying on the yacht, people. If you know, you know. Okay, we're hitting 12:20 now. We've been here since 9:45. We've just been waiting. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. Yeah, so that was my point. Thank you for roping me back to my point, Beach Girl, which is long form videos. There are so many of you that I have found that my long form content keeps you busy at work all day. And so I may be responsible for the quiet quitting that is going on in your corporation or hospital because your workers might not really be working. They might have me in one ear. And so I'm happy to do that. But again, apologies to any employers whose employees are listening to YouTube instead of working. How many of you are supposed to be working right now, but have an earbud in? I'm sure there's a lot of you. I know, because every time I do that poll, there are many who are working from home or working at work or in a hospital or wherever. And I keep you busy at work. I mean, I keep you company, and I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do it. So, I'm helping your workday go faster. If I can do that for you, I'm totally willing to do it. Justice Serve is now reporting on all the other cases that are being heard in the same courtroom. And apparently, a bailiff provided pens and paper to a child who was in court to occupy the child in court. There's a toddler. Right? Magnolia Gypsy says it's no different than having the TV on or the radio, except this is 10,000% better. Susan says she can't even work without me. I mean, that's commitment, girl. That's commitment. And look, Costco's Velcro sneakers is here. It says I literally deliver streets of mail, and I don't even realize that I did. Told you we have a lot of mail carriers here. Breaking news from the courtroom. Child given crayons. I'm telling you, that's what they're tweeting about now. Because everyone, it's not just you that are frustrated by this delay, but it is what it is. Terry says, I hate short form. I don't want to have to touch my iPad every 60 seconds. I know. People are grocery shopping. Maria's grocery shopping. I will tell you that when I go grocery shopping, which is rare since I have found that DoorDash will bring me anything I want, as will Costco. Same day delivery if you're a Costco member, just so you know. It'll be on your porch before you could even think about getting in your car to go to Costco, and they don't upcharge you on items. Whenever I am in rarely grocery shopping, I always have YouTube on in my ear too. Shelly's at Chrysler in Kokomo listening. Shelly, will you give anybody who comes down to Chrysler in Kokomo a friends and family discount for shouting out your place of work? Overruled. Sit down. Says I work from home. No earbuds needed. You are out in the open. All right. Cool. Lori's getting nervous because she has a work meeting coming up. Sorry, you can come back for the replay. I feel like we could play like a game show or something. I don't know. Breaking news. Child gets crayons. I know what we can do. YouTube gives me memberships to gift every month. So let me gift you some memberships. How about that? We can do that. You haven't missed anything so far, Kelsey, related today. Last night, you missed a couple hours of reading like 60 pages of documents for today's hearing. But the hearing has not started yet because family court's very busy. And there's like 20 other cases or however many cases coming up before this one today. So cameras are not on yet. All right, let's see what we can do here. All right, I have five memberships left this month that I can gift. Here we go. On your mark, I got set. Go. Welcome to the 5 randomly gifted new memberships. Randomly gifted by YouTube. Carlene Lilly is the first winner chicken dinner. Will Call Magic, number 2. Fids 43, number 3. Mrs. or Ms. Moles 217. And Melissa K 406. Welcome to membership. Oh, yeah, Melissa K 406. You were the 5th. Welcome. Everyone, close your eyes and say Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Thank you. Kimini Cricket says, has anybody watched the Cult of Nature Boy documentary on Hulu? Looks really good. Nope. No, haven't. Have not watched it. What's it about? Look, Krista is at Chrysler in Melbourne, Florida. We have Chrysler employees representing. What is the best Chrysler vehicle on the market right now? Tell me. Oh, Carlene Lilly won. You're welcome. Mandy Cupcake is in a work meeting, but says, I'm retiring in 2 weeks, so I'm listening here more than to the meeting. Congratulations. What are you going to do in your retirement? Do you play golf? Are you going to move? Where do you live? Tell us everything. They assume you know nothing. 66 says, thank you for your 10. My kids went to a Boston Fleet game, and the Bruins mascot gave them tickets to Game 7 against Toronto when they stopped by TD Arena to get merch. Amazing memory for them. That's awesome. That's an amazing memory. You got your Wonder Skin? Excellent. Excellent, Leanne. I hope you like it. Let me know. I don't use the one that peels off. I use the one that you just wipe off. So I don't know if the peel off one is better. There's 80, almost 80. There's 8,400 and change. I have, says that there's 4,500 likes. We could do better than that, can't we? Wouldn't that be so cool if we could get 100% likes? If we get like 8,000 likes, that would be so nice. It doesn't cost you anything to just hit the like button. Just close out the chat on your phone. It's like just courteous is all. Look at Kindle's. Kindle's Easy says Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chevy dealership here. We got a lot of people from car dealerships. There's a demographic that we never knew we had. Melissa says, today I'm working at night. I either diamond art or I'm at the sewing machine upcycling flannels. Upcycling flannels. I like that. I have an idea for you, Melissa, since you know how to sew. And I saw another company that's doing this, but they don't have very good reviews. So here's another business idea for you. If you're selling these upcycled flannels that you're selling on Depop or something, I'm a person who, I'm not a hoarder, but I just have a really hard time like getting rid of things, because I'm always like, oh, maybe I'll need that someday in the future. And it's like, I haven't seen it for 10 years. I forgot I even had it. I'm never gonna use it. The one thing that I hate to throw away are like my kids' like little t-shirts from when they were little that have like the camp that they went to, or the dance recital that they were in, or like the graduating class of whatever, or the camp shirts that everyone signed. And there's a company who you send your old t-shirts to, and they make a quilt out of the t-shirts. But I heard they're not great quality. So I'm going to toss that out there for you, Melissa Shank, that if you know how to sew and that's something that you're interested in, I think you can make a lot of money. It's a great graduation gift. It would be a great wedding gift. And we all have those old t-shirts that we just don't want to get rid of, right? For our kids. And wouldn't it be so cool to have a quilt made out of all those t-shirts of all the memories? I love the idea. The company that's doing them, though, does not have good reviews. So I'm just putting it out there, Melissa. Thanks for your 5. Lozzie says, I love the long hours with Melanie in the chat. Thanks, Lozzie. Next witness says, it definitely takes longer to make the videos. Yeah, it does. Yeah, because you're probably in editing hell most of the time. Your work is amazing. Thanks for being here for 6 months. I got a hard stop. I got to be out of here by like 2:45 today because I have an appointment. I did not think this was going all day. So I'm going to stay with you as long as I can. Let's hope they call this case soon, because I don't know if they're going to break for lunch. Somebody said they usually break for lunch at 1 in family court, but I don't know. They might power through. Kelsey's got her glasses on. Still a lot of other cases being called. Editing. I hate editing. Gigi says, got to get back to my diaper cake. I just wanted to stop in and support Melanie and say hi to everyone. I'm feeling great. That's great. Thanks, Gigi. Thanks for your 5. Andrea says, if it's a weekday, I'm tuning in from work and extremely productive. Thanks for your company. I love ML After Dark. Thank you. Thanks, Andrea, for your 5. Karma knows your address. Has been here for a month. Thank you. I famously say that. Karma knows your address. Noted a 3 gifted 5 more memberships. Thank you. Thank you. Noted a 3. Oslin says, my hubby finally got a new 100% job today. Yay. Congratulations. And thanks for being here for 8 months. Cassie Baby says, I'm working by myself. Oops. I'm working by myself in the shoe store I manage. Just hit 20-year anniversary and I turn 40 next month. Wow, that's dedication, girl. That is dedication. In Jacksonville Beach, Florida, come see me if y'all are local. It's the only one in Jacksonville Beach. You know. All right, Cassie Baby, working in the shoe store. She's managing now. She's been there for 20 years. And that is loyalty. Thanks, Cassie, for your 10. Sarah in Virginia says, new to watch, Paramount's My Killer Father, The Green Hollow Murders. I think the Matas participated with the documentary. Well, that's interesting. Thank you very much for that little tidbit. I just want to check something. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Let's see. All right, so this judge, I'm looking at the daily calendar in the Essex Probate and Family Court, Lawrence. Judge Mitchell-Munevar has had cases on since 8 a.m. There were 4 cases on for 8 a.m. And 3 cases on for 8:30. No, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 cases on for 8:30. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cases on for 10 a.m. Kelsey, if they're going to call them in order, which they may not because there's so many people there to support Kelsey. Kelsey's case was 4th on the list of 10 a.m. cases. That's a hell of a lot of cases. So that explains the delay because she's taking testimony and other things from other litigants. Thanks for your 10, Sarah in Virginia. Glad to be here, says PJ. Thanks, PJ. Glad to have you. HR for 11 months. HRH Cookie Doodle became a member. Welcome. Jersey to Georgia says Imperfect Women on Apple is a must see. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'll check it out. Thanks for being with me for 11 months. Ted Lasso season 4 returns August 5th. Ted is coaching a women's team. Oh, I've never watched Ted Lasso. Hate to admit it because it seems like everyone else has. Thank you for being here for 6 months. Meg says, Dear Mel, last June on holiday in Turkey with my family, I faked being ill just to stay in the hotel room and watch the Karen Reed verdicts with you. Oh, man. That was a great day. That was a great day, Meg. We cried. We cried. Mark Betterow was with me. And what a day it was. I won't tell if you don't. Thank you, Meg. I thought you were going to talk about what happened with Kelsey on that Croatian vacation. Because if you guys didn't watch or listen to the papers or haven't read the papers, man, Justin and Kelsey have 2 totally different versions of what happened on that vacation to Croatia. And Kelsey's version was something that many people could relate to. She was 20 weeks pregnant. Everyone wanted to go on hikes. She didn't want to do it. She was tired. They were saying, why did you even bring her? She's ruining our whole vacation. Why did you even bring her? And Justin said that she threatened to harm the baby, that she said she never wanted to be pregnant, and that she was punching herself in the stomach. I mean, it was just... Somebody fill Joanne in. Covered that hours ago. It's not just breaking just now. Yep. Kylie says, yeah, that is a classic line right out of the playbook. Heard that one before, unfortunately. Thank you, Scott, for putting the link for membership in the chat. It's funny with, like, I don't know if it's iPhones, doesn't have the link to join on your phone. Some phones do, some phones don't. I can't keep it all straight. Scott McGinnis says, meet the Fockers. I mean, Aylaians. Did you see they're dropping another Focker movie? It's like Focker In-Laws with Ariana Grande. I put the trailer up as a post on my YouTube one day, and I was like, this is what we all needed. Those are my favorite movies of all time. Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is the baby boy that Fokker tried to breastfeed with the fake boobies. The boy is gets engaged to Ariana Grande, and it looks really funny. It looks really funny. Well, I'm not going to body shame Ariana Grande. I'm not going to do that. She looks a little, whatever. Watch the trailer. Mm-hmm. All right. Did you know, Lori says, that Elle Fanning and Dakota are sisters? I love them both. Yes. Elle Fanning is in the new show that I'm watching. It's called Margot Has Money Problems. Also, Michelle Pfeiffer is also in that. Fockerized 152. Great username. Says, if you couldn't tell, I too love Meet the Fockers. Great username. Fockerized 152. Apparently, there's also a very good interpreter in the courtroom. According to Michael from Justice Served. Yeah, Unbelievable on Netflix is really good. For those of you who haven't watched it, it's about a woman who it's an older series. Merritt Weaver is in it. It's good. I like that one. S. Hurt Locker says Kelsey's statements rang true because she at least admitted to the baby falling off the bed, right? Rolling off the bed, and other points instead of total denial. She comes across as very honest and owns her stuff. Well, this judge seems to be taking testimony on like every case. So I guess we'll see some testimony. Momo Mom says, I can't wait to see Devil Wears Prada too. Anybody else waiting for that one? Devil Wears Prada 2. It's been a while since Devil Wears Prada 1 came out. Anne Hathaway is back with Meryl Streep, and that should be interesting, just for the fashion, you know? I don't know. Is the movie going to be good? I don't know. I guess it remains to be seen. And Lemonade, thank you for gifting a membership. You rock. Linda Houston from across the pond, thanks for your super sticker. Lori became a member. Welcome, Lori. And note to 3, if I didn't thank you, I'll thank you. If I thanked you already, I'll thank you again. Thanks for gifting 5. Do, 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 do. Do. Concert is harder for some people, but I love going to concerts by myself. It always ends up being so much fun. Yeah, agreed. I mean, you're not talking with anybody during a concert anyway, so you can just do your own thing. You can move about the cabin. You can try and get up to the rail, right? Go wherever you want. Maybe the person you're going with isn't as into it as you. I think going to concerts alone is a great experience, honestly. PK says, I really think you'd like High Potential on ABC and Hulu. You remind me of the star of the show. You could play sisters. Is that? I think I know who you're talking about. She's been in a couple of things that I've watched. Does she also play Gene Smart's daughter on Hacks? I forget her name, but I love Hacks also. Hacks is great. I haven't started the new season yet. High Potential, thank you. Haven't watched it. Everyone loves it though. Look, a lot of love for High Potential. Just an Earthbound. Misfit says, I like going to concerts by myself so I can Tetris myself to the front. Right. Right. A lot of people. Oh, yes. She was also in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah. Thanks, Candace. You guys love it. Caitlin Olsen. That's it. Thank you. Mitchell. Caitlin Olsen. That is right. I saw Journey, IDK says, I saw Journey a few weeks ago in their farewell tour. Everyone does a farewell tour and then they come back when they run out of money. Let's just face it. How many final tours did Dead and Company do? A lot. And I fell into the scam every single time, but I still love it. Sadly, rest in peace, Bob Weir. John Mayer's working on a new album, so I don't think anything is going to be happening on that front anytime soon.
W0966.
This is it. Maybe this is it. Yep, that's Julie Hess. Here we go. Thank you, Law Girls. We love you.
All other matters will be heard at 2 p.m. So if you're not here on the Fitzsimmons matter, all other matters will be heard at.
Praise be. We're getting it done before lunch.
Parties, please identify yourself and who you represent, starting with you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Kelsey Fitzsimmons.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Julie Hess.
It is afternoon, isn't it? And I went right.
Okay. Should I boost it? A little bit. Let's see if we can boost it.
And who you represent, starting with you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Kelsey Fitzsimmons.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Julie Hess.
It is afternoon, isn't it? And I went right there with it. This is where we're at today. Good afternoon, counsel.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Peter Keiko for Justin Aylaian.
Good afternoon, counsel.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Justin Aylaian.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Christy Candela, also for Justin Aylaian.
Okay, good afternoon. Can the parties please raise your right hands? Do you solemnly swear or affirm in the matter now in hearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, so I have thoroughly read all of your submissions. I have Mother's motion for further temporary orders. I've read the opposition to the motion. I've read the motion to appoint a category E guardian ad litem as well, in the opposition to appoint a guardian ad litem. Did I miss anything?
Yes, my brother has a motion also for temporary orders, and I did a verified opposition.
Yes, and I have that too. And I have reviewed that as well. Where would we like to start?
I believe my sister filed first, Ron, so I believe you should go first.
Okay, so do you want to start with the motion for temporary orders, counsel? So again, I know you've heard me say this. I have read it in its entirety. So if there's anything that is not in that motion that you would like to share with the court, I'm happy to hear it.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I do know there was a lot of submissions. I think there was almost 200 pages worth of submissions.
There were.
Appreciate that, Your Honor.
216, I believe.
Appreciate that.
That's okay.
But I mean, genuinely. I
It's
appreciate
important,
Your Honor
and
doing
you
that.
both took the time and attention that is needed to have the court understand the history of this case and what your client's positions are. So it's my job to read it and read it thoroughly, and you did your job. So all is well.
Thank you, Your Honor. And with respect to the history, when I went back to look at all of the submissions to prepare for today, because there were so many, and there's
You'll
so
see me
much.
taking notes. I am paying attention.
And there is so much, Judge. And what I noticed, though, ironically, was that it didn't seem to be a clear actual history before the June 30th date when, that restraining order was served. And I kind of wanted to take Your Honor back to that. I did hear what Your Honor said at the last case was before us. And yes, it is important to note there are a lot of allegations about domestic violence. But what is important here in this particular case is that even father has not alleged that there's any abuse against the child or toward the child. There's never been any harm to the child. The child has never been endangered when with my client. If we back up.
So let me push back on that just a little bit, counsel, because there are allegations in your brother's submissions that there was physical confrontations between the parties and the child was present.
And you are correct, those are the allegations, and we are saying that those are refuted, Judge.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
yes.
So please go ahead.
Yes. But what I wanted to focus on really this morning, and we don't have a lot of time, Judge, is the party's history, right, before things blew up, if you will. They started dating in September 2023. Father moved into mother's home in North Andover in March of 2024. They conceived their child in spring of 24, and Caden was born in February 2025. My client took maternity leave. She was on maternity leave for about 4 months, Your Honor. And in that 4-month period of time, they resided together. My client was a primary caregiver of Caden. Father worked as a firefighter. And he also was present at doctor's appointments, things like that. The parties worked together, and I think that's an important history that this court needs to understand. We're not talking about two people who had never been able to work together and cooperate. It seems like that when we stand right here today and we look at what has transpired over the last 9 months, Judge. But that's not really the history between these two people and this child. They've agreed on the pediatricians. This is prior to June 30th, Judge. They agreed on where to go for the child for medical needs. They've agreed on how to raise the child. Clearly, they agreed on the home to raise the child in at that time, Your Honor. They were a family. Yes, things got disrupted, if you will, on June 30th. But father always trusted my client to take care of the child. He always left the child with my client. Then, yes, Judge, June 30th happened. That was the date that he obtained that ex parte restraining order.
But it sounds like it sounds like from father's submissions that there was a lot leading up to that restraining order.
Yes, and I'm
Can you talk to a little
yes,
bit about
yes,
that?
Judge. Mother was suffering from postpartum depression. She that started around February 2025. She got help for that in March of 2025. That's when she was diagnosed at Lawrence General Hospital. Father went with her for that. I did notice, speaking of the things that are not in our papers, Judge, I did notice from my brother's opposition that was just filed yesterday that they claim that Lawrence General Hospital had claimed that she should not be alone with the child. I did read those discharge papers, Judge. We're happy to provide that to this court, but it does not say that. It indicated that when she was going through that period, that one particular day when she had gone into Lawrence General Hospital in March of 2025, they said that was not a good circumstance for the child to be in. But when they released her about 12 hours later, they said that everything was okay. She needed to continue in her therapy. She was already seeing a therapist at that time. They had prescribed medication, and she continued in that therapy. My papers do lay out, Your Honor, that she saw a psychiatrist. She's still seeing a psychiatrist, a psychologist. She does have someone to medicate, to handle the medication. I believe it's Dr. Khan. And so she's continued in that therapy, Judge. So what we are submitting is that it was.
So let me ask you. So I'm in reading their submission, and certainly I'll give counsel an opportunity to represent his case, and I'll have the same questions, right? Even prior to that, though, there were some allegations of violence by mom towards dad.
Sure, Judge, I can address that.
You know, punching in the face and intoxication and violence towards a bridesmaid or someone in the bridal
Sure.
party at their engagement party, and even going back further when mom was pregnant with Caden. So can you speak to that, because the allegations are concerning and
Right.
detailed?
They are. And I have addressed all those in my submission, so I
Correct.
just want to make sure everyone knows
Correct.
that, but I'm going to try to do it from memory right now.
Well,
So let's
in
talk
your
about the,
opposition, I understand that there was some question as to whether or not things happened in the way that father's lens reported.
exactly.
But if you could give me some examples about that, because it didn't really go into this is what really happened there. Was there a punch? Was there not a punch? Right? Was there a slap on the back on the beach? Was there not? You sort of generally explained that things didn't happen the way they happened. So what happened? So that the court can make a proper determination of credibility and whether or not this child is going to be at risk if in mother's care, whether supervised or unsupervised.
Right, so it's going to be hard for me to speak to each incident because there were a lot, as Your Honor can recall. So I'm just
Right.
going to try to bring up some
Overall, right?
Right, so first of all,
Everything is in the papers, and the only way the judge can make a determination on credibility is to take testimony. Let's go.
with respect to the allegations of punching herself in the stomach, that's a serious allegation.
Correct.
My client alleges that never happened. So to try to say something happened instead is difficult, right? Because it's basically saying I'm trying to prove something that didn't happen, prove the non-existence of something. We would suggest that we can look at the credibility of those statements. You know, several times father would say mother was driving from an event, driving father and mother, and I don't know if they were boyfriend at the time or fiance, but they were together, the parties were together, and she would speed at 110 miles an hour. He made that allegation twice. And what I want Your Honor to see is that he asked mother to drive him when she was pregnant from those events because he was the one that was intoxicated. He was the one that had been drinking. That's why she was driving. That's why she went with him and was driving, because he was the one that got intoxicated. So in a way, Your Honor, we're alleging that father's twisted those events literally in the opposite direction. And he's doing that because it's very easy to do when you look back at someone's mental health and you say they suffered from postpartum, they cried a lot, they were upset a lot. You know, even mother says, I recognize something was wrong in me. That's why she sought help, right, Judge? But to suggest that she punched herself in the stomach, he never called the police those incidents. He never went to the doctor. He never went to the pediatrician afterward and said, hey, can you check on these things? He never went to the OBGYN and said, hey, she's been punching herself in the stomach. There's no medical records that say any of that happened. And you would think, Judge, if that happened, those serious incidents happened, he would have spoken to the OBGYN, because he even alleges he went to those appointments with her. And she doesn't deny that he did go to those appointments. So these allegations are coming years after the fact, a year and a half after the fact. Some of them he's talked about 8 years ago when he didn't even know her. But that being said, Judge, the allegations of punching in the stomach never happened. She never assaulted him, never. A lot of these events, she would be upset with him, Your Honor, and they're absolutely sometimes had an argument. Like, for example, that one time that he was talking to another woman at an event. She was upset, but he was drunk. He even apologized to her for how he behaved. When he went to Mexico, I believe it was, he had blocked her from his phone so she couldn't reach him, and she ended up being in the hospital when she was pregnant. I think there was bleeding, I'm not sure, but she went to the hospital. And so, yes, there were incidents that they argued and were upset with one another, Judge. But to suggest that she was abusive to him or their baby, really, it's not credible when you look at the overall allegations, Judge.
I know that there was a visit, I believe, on April 25th.
Yes, on Saturday.
And that was with Dad, and that was at counsel's office.
Yes,
if I
Judge.
have that correct, and that was arranged by Dad. Prior to that or since then, has there been any time between mom and the child?
Absolutely not. She's not seen her son since June 30th, 2025, Your Honor.
Okay, let me hear from you, brother. Yes, please, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. We please the court. Your Honor, I'm disappointed that I'm hearing that there's no acknowledgement of the past abuse, because we just want to move forward. And we've taken a very positive approach to the case, Judge. What you don't see in the paperwork, maybe you do a little bit, is that I've worked with my sister proactively.
He's disappointed that Kelsey's not admitting to things that aren't true. I'm so sorry that you're disappointed, sir. Yes, he's calling Julie Hess, his opposing counsel, his sister. That's what they do in Massachusetts. My brother, my sister, in some courtrooms. People are saying, why are they all standing? I guess that's the way this judge likes it. Everybody needs to stand when they address the court. It's respectful. Here we go. It's a very tiny courtroom.
Since we became involved in this case, every single court order.
They're in agreement.
Is it agreement?
Their submissions.
So there hasn't been this,
Yep.
they're painting my client this picture that he wants to delay and obstruct. Hardly.
But why has there been no visit whatsoever until a week before the hearing?
Your Honor, have been in front of the probate court, and candidly, they didn't ask for it. And I actually suggested.
Hold on. Watch Julie Hess. This is as far in as I can zoom. Praise be that law girls, not attorneys, are in the courtroom. The judge is saying, why has there been no visit with the baby until this Saturday when Justin let her see the baby? Let her see the baby in air quotes. Look at Julie Hess's hands. Go to her face like, are you kidding me? He says they never asked for a visit. Listen.
Delay and obstruct. Involved in this case. Every single positive approach to the case, Judge. What you don't see in the paperwork, maybe you do a little bit, is that I've worked with my sister proactively since we became involved in this case. Every single court order.
They're in agreement.
Is it agreement?
Their submissions.
So there hasn't been this, they're painting my client this picture that he wants to delay and obstruct. Hardly.
But why has there been no visit whatsoever until a week before the hearing?
Your Honor, have been in front of the probate court, and candidly, they didn't ask for it. And I actually suggested the visit last Saturday. I felt.
But whether they asked for it or not, we're talking about what's in Caden's best interest.
Agreed, Judge.
At Caden's best interest, why was that not offered?
I think the issue was there was a criminal trial pending, Judge, and the focus was on that. Yeah, the focus was on that.
Okay.
We had been in court, but I'm the one who moved that forward, Judge, and I was happy to do it. And I think Ms. Fitzsimmons would tell you we were very kind to her, very supportive of her in that visit.
The visit went well?
It went well. I mean, I think it was a little awkward for everybody at first, but it did go well. My client's only concern is Caden's safety. He's 14 months old. He can't tell us what goes on in visits. When you look at, and I appreciate the court looking at the voluminous filings of the file, we've given the court very detailed, very specific accounts of violence that occurred, behavior that occurred, self-harming behavior that occurred before the pregnancy, during the pregnancy, and after the pregnancy. Now, even if you just discount all those sites, there's things that mom has admitted to in her opposition. You know, the gun incident, which was no longer the hospitalization, the incident that led to that hospitalization. Her own family had, supported my client right prior to that hospitalization, getting her help, looking for help. So to hear that, their position is she never assaulted him. I mean, that just flies in the face of evidence, even from third parties that you pointed out, Your Honor, in your comments. The bridal party. You have information that other people were assaulted. Mom was struggling. She was struggling. We understand that.
Does Dad still think she's struggling? Because what I'm hearing from Mom's counsel is that she's in therapy, she is on medication. I don't know if she's been cleared by her employer. I read something to that effect.
Not employed, Your Honor.
Okay.
She resigned in December of 2025, Your Honor.
Judge, we don't know.
But she was cleared before that.
We don't know. I do have a report from an expert from the criminal case from a year ago, which I can speak to. He's a paid expert witness. We don't know. And I think, moving forward.
Do you believe that mother is being dishonest about the fact that she's currently in therapy and on medication?
I'm not saying anyone's being dishonest, Your Honor, but I haven't seen it. I haven't analyzed it. That's why I have a motion for jail. I think a jail would be perfect for this case to analyze that data and understand that information. They can even have information, Judge, from a psychiatrist, psychologist. I'm not qualified to interpret. I'm not in a position to say, oh, sure, that's good enough. When we have a 14-month-old child and we have this long history, and my message to the court is, Judge, we want to move it forward safely, in a controlled way, candidly, Judge, so it succeeds. I want it to succeed. He wants it to succeed. These people have a long way to go with each other. They have 18 years plus. They have a lifetime to go. And these are very important days in their lives right now. It's a very important day. Can I be honest with you, Judge? The heck with him, the heck with her.
I would hope that everyone's going to be today.
I mean, I meant to be candid. Judge, it's the child that really matters here. Okay, they both have their rights. The court will protect each of their rights. But but it's a child that needs to be protected because of his young age. As you pointed out, I don't know if you remembered what happened way back when there was arguments, domestic violence happening when he was an infant. But I rest on the papers I filed with you, Judge. The record is very clear, and not just confined to things that I brought up from my client. There's other things that, from third parties, things that mom has agreed to and admitted to.
I just want to point out this girl sitting behind Justin and his attorneys, smelling her hair. What is going on there? She's distracting me. She's smelling her hair. I don't know. Is that Justin's sister? I have questions. They're going to push for a guardian ad litem because by getting a guardian ad litem appointed to this case, it is going to burn time. It'll take months for a guardian ad litem to interview everyone, to review all the records, to issue a report, and it'll kick the can down the road a couple of more months where Caden will not be able to see his mom. And that is not in the best interest of the child.
We both agree that the parent attachment is supervised. We just don't agree on how, for how long, and what that looks like. We've talked.
So I have read that there was some agreement to have a professional supervisor. Is that correct?
Right, Your Honor. I'm not discounting concerns of this court or anyone, but we also aren't afraid of what anyone's going to see. My client is stable and looking forward to try to co-parent. We're also not trying to say dad's a bad dad. We're just saying mom wants to be involved. So, but my problem, if I could just touch on this very, very briefly on the GAL judge. We also have no problem with the GAL being involved. We have no problem with providing the records. I read that in my submissions. We'll provide all of our records over, but there are some protections that we need to have too, Judge. So the problem and my concern with the GAL is that, as we all know, GALs take a few months, and that's understandable. I can't have a GAL taking a few months and no parenting time.
Correct.
What I also would worry about is, let's say the GAL suggests implementing.
Yes, a quick question. Yeah. Is your client's position that there be no parenting time until the guardian ad litem investigation is complete and the recommendations are provided to the court?
Not at all, Your Honor. In fact, I have offered, if you look at my prayer for relief, my motion, that entity I had contacted, their clinicians, we could have started that weeks ago.
What's your client's opposition?
Yes, Your Honor. What they offered, because what they offered was at a center. It's a very sterile place for a 14-month-old and mother to reunite for less than 2 full days over 60 days, Judge. That's not a reunification. That's punishment. That's not co-parenting, Judge. So what we suggest, that's why I thought, let's start with a little bit of supervision.
At home with the supervisor.
At home with the supervisor. I provided a photo of the room that she has set up in Newburyport in her home with a supervisor, short period of time. Then we can expand that to just her parents or it doesn't matter who it is, but the child's also been cut off from her entire family, Judge, her entire family. So I suggest a stepped up parenting plan, and then maybe in the interim, we could have this GAL be doing all the investigation and reviewing records, but we need to start something more than 1 hour a week, Your Honor, or a few hours a week for 60 days. That seems absurd.
So there seems to be some agreement to a guardian ad litem category.
Yes.
I do have someone in mind. If you want to submit recommendations, you're willing to do so. You're welcome to do so as well. As far as I believe that it makes sense, at least for the short term, for Caden to remain primarily in dad's care, because there is some distrust and some concern about past events. But that has to be weighed with the fact that Caden has been completely disconnected with the one person who brought him into this world. And we're not dealing with purposeful neglect, we're dealing with mental health issues. So I think it's extremely important, yes, to keep Caden safe, right, first and foremost. But equally important is reestablishing his connection with his mother. I think that has to happen imminently, and I don't think that 1 hour per week is appropriate. She needs to bond with this child, and this child needs to get to know his mother again.
I agree with you, and I'll point out, Judge, we weren't looking for it to be 1 hour a week. In fact, what I was suggesting was
Judge said baby needs to bond with his mother. That's important here. If I boost it anymore, it's going to blow out your ears. So when the judge is talking, just up your own volume. The only person streaming from the courtroom is law girls, not attorneys. They don't have a professional system. They have a mic, and what their mic is picking up is what we get. So when the judge is talking, you're just going to have to turn up your own volume. But the judge thinks that the baby should be bonding with his mother.
Exactly the time my sister was suggesting her motion. It's identical. So it was not 1 hour a week. It was exactly what my sister had suggested in her motion. So the prayers really was the same thing.
I'm seeing some disagreement with your sister. Would you like to clarify, counsel?
Sure, Judge. I'm not sure what my brother's looking at, but we had suggested up to a few weeks for the initial supervision with a professional supervisor, and another few weeks with her parents as supervisors. And that took about 2.5 months for that, and then to bump it up to a 50-50 type parenting plan, assuming no issues or no concerns were again raised. So that's far more than.
Sorry, counsel, does your client have concerns about the maternal grandparents?
We do, Judge. I don't think it's appropriate that they be the supervisors because they've been involved in this case too. If you read their reference to some of my pleadings as well. And candidly.
But I also read that they stepped up when help needed.
They did.
And he
They
called
did.
them.
We wouldn't, Judge, we wouldn't be.
Right. She's asking about the maternal grandparents. Do you have a problem with them? She's like, but all over your papers, you said that Justin kept calling her parents to come over to help him. But now you don't want the maternal grandparents to be able to see Caden? Interesting. She's read all the papers, just like we have. She knows the case.
They behaved in a way that some may argue were not in their daughter's interest.
This isn't a case where we're asking that they not be allowed to go to supervised parenting time. We think it should be by a professional person. And the reason we had suggested a place, I suggested a place that the court does use frequently. Caden's 14 months old, Judge. Like, I'll tell you this, an example on Saturday, he was on the floor, we had two ways set up in blankets, he could be anywhere. It doesn't.
How is that different from having a professional supervisor in the home? They're going to be taking notes, they're going to be observing, it's going to be a licensed mental health care professional and a mandated.
Understood. I think the issue is who would that be? And
well, they suggested someone.
Right, it was absolutely inappropriate.
Why is she
inappropriate? Well, first of all, one person they suggested is out in Pittsfield, and her job is, I think she works on cases with Tim Brado co-counsel on criminal cases. I saw no experience in this area, number one. The second person was a woman with 6 years experience. I called her just to talk to her. I don't know if she didn't call me back. I don't even know if she supervises. I don't know if my sister spoke to her.
I think he's talking about her name's Emily Connell. Now I think she was on she was GAL on a recent case of mine, which wasn't perfect for my client, but I think that's what made her fair. She saw both sides, and I didn't realize that my brother contacted her. I have no problem with contacting her. I did not contact her about this case either because I didn't want anyone to be biased when and if they were available. Just because she's had 6 years of experience doesn't mean she's not experienced with supervised parenting, and she is a qualified GAL and court judge.
But it doesn't say that she supervises. As you know, the court, we have a standing order.
Do you have any suggestions on?
No, Your Honor, I think this is one of those cases, Your Honor, where we would defer to the court. On the GAL, I am a GAL as well. I would be like, and I have a lot of people I know who are GALs. This is the kind of case where I think if either party chose, it would be met with suspicion. I think it's the case where, as the GAL and supervisor, we would defer to the court.
So here's what would be helpful, though. I think I have two names that Mom has given the court. It would be helpful if the dad gives two names as well.
For a supervisor?
For a professional supervisor,
okay.
if the court were to go that way, because I think it's only fair that each parent is able to suggest someone who they believe is appropriate. I will take this matter under advisement. I'm not your sitting judge, so this case will be heard from here forward by Judge Ulwick. However, I think the issue of whether or not a guardian ad litem should be appointed is imminent, and that is something that I will consider in my order, as well as a detailed parenting plan and what that would look like.
Your Honor, just one last thing. My brother and I both have in our papers that we want the parties to start communicating by OFW. I think that needs to start immediately. If Your Honor could put that into an order, that would be wonderful.
Yes, and I will refer to both of your proposed orders when I'm drafting the order for custody, so I can make sure I.
And my client just reminded me, Mother's Day, if Your Honor could put in an order for that. That would be
Absolutely. Mom should have Kaden on Mother's Day.
Your Honor, I have in my motion about popular wizard as well. I have a caveat in there that those messages between them not be disseminated on social media.
Absolutely
There's
not.
a lot of social media.
Absolutely not.
This is on this, in this case.
We need to
photographs of the
protect
child.
Kaden as
That
much
needs to
as
stop.
possible.
Agreed.
Absolutely not. Mother's Day is, I should know this. The fact that I don't know what that says.
It's in 2 Sundays from now.
3 Sundays, okay. What, if anything, would your client feel comfortable with as far as parenting time on Mother's Day? What is your client looking for as far as parenting time on Mother's Day?
Anytime, Your Honor. Obviously, she wants as much time as she can have. She'd love to have him in the morning, all the way through the evening, maybe even be able to, feed him, play with him, those kinds of things. I'm sure her mother would also like to be present. But anytime, Your Honor, is wonderful for my client.
Your Honor, I just want to again stress to the court, our primary concern is the child's safety. The passage of time alone doesn't negate a lot of what's happening. We don't have any information about the status of mom's mental health treatment.
So I can appreciate that. I don't think that one day reuniting with her mother and his grandmother and his maternal side of the family is going to put him at risk.
You can't see the judge.
I think that will be good for Kaden.
Yeah,
See?
I agree. I was there last Saturday.
Right.
Facilitated that.
Right.
So I don't disagree, Judge. What is my client?
All right, I'll issue an order. Certainly I'll get it out before Mother's Day so that we're clear about what parenting time is going to look like. Is there anything further that the court can do for either party?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much for your time today.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, and thank you for submitting such thoughtful submissions. It made the court's job easier.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor, for reading it.
Okay, your volume is on you. Adjust your volume now. Well, I go back to my regular volume. This judge is very thorough. She's very, Mastad says that she's a fair judge. But this judge just said, I'm not your real judge on this case. I'm not going to be your judge moving forward. It's going to go back to Judge Elwick. But she's going to issue some sort of temporary custody order. She thinks that it is totally fair that Kelsey should get Mother's Day. That's how normal custody orders work. Mother always gets Mother's Day. Father always gets Father's Day. Other holidays are usually odd years and even years. Christmas, Hanukkah, Halloween, Thanksgiving. She's going to issue a written order. I don't know how long it's going to take, but she seems to be of the mindset that a guardian ad litem is going to be necessary. However, as we all know, that is going to stall things and freeze things. And it's going to take a long time for a guardian ad litem to review everything, interview all the parties, and then issue recommendations. And Kelsey's attorney, Julie Hess, said that we don't want that. And Justin's attorney tried to make it seem like they're all for it. They're all for this mother and child reunion, but it needs to be supervised. And we don't think her parents should get to see the baby. And abra. She took it under advisement, which means we're going to have to wait for a written decision. But she says it's going to come out before Mother's Day. So they will know before Mother's Day whether or not Kelsey will be able to see her baby on Mother's Day, which is May 10th. Then it's going to go back to Judge Elwick. How long is it going to take for a decision? All I know is that it will take, she'll issue her written decision before May 10th. Mastad said the guardian ad litem process takes 5 to 6 months from appointment to final report minimum. Justin's lawyer wanted it to appear to the court that, it was all his idea. That Kaden and Kelsey were able to see each other last Saturday for 2.5 hours or 2 hours because Kelsey never asked. We've read every document in this case, every single one of them. Kelsey was in custody. She was in the hospital for 53 days. Then she was in custody until 2 days before Christmas. And Mastad also says a decision on this motion coming before 5/10 is very fast. Remember, this was a motion on a hearing for further temporary orders, meaning further temporary custody and visitation. And the judge read all the papers and she didn't want them regurgitating what was in the papers, but she had grave concerns. She didn't say grave concerns, but she had some real concerns about the allegations that Justin made against Kelsey. Allegations of violence against him and the bridal party. Allegations which we know were refuted in the papers by Kelsey. One sec. And this is the danger with having these ex parte hearings and these ex parte applications to take away someone's baby, is that only Justin's side was heard in the original June 30th order to award him temporary custody and take the baby away, and to get a restraining order against Kelsey where she could have no contact with Justin and no contact with the baby. That's the danger with this ex parte type hearing situation. And yes, she would have had a hearing in 14 days, as they told Kelsey while they were serving her with this order, in which she saw her baby being taken away, her upcoming marriage crumbling, her relationship with Justin over, possibly and most likely losing her job. And in that moment, she told us during her criminal trial, she lost the will to live because she saw everything being taken away from her in that moment, based on Justin's words to the court and the opportunity for only him to be heard. And one of the officers who responded to the scene, one of her coworkers, said, "Oh, it's only 2 weeks. You're going to see him in 2 weeks. Don't worry. You don't need to pack up any books for him." And she said, in that moment, 2 weeks was a lifetime to me. And so we'll see if they can agree on some things, and before this order comes out. Justin wants all of the visitation to be supervised, and he wanted it to be at a center. Kelsey called that a sterile environment. He wanted it to be at a center where they could be supervised. She would have to pay for it. And initially, his suggestion was something like she could only see the baby for 2 full days over a 60-day period, a couple hours a week, supervised. And I don't think that the judge was in favor of that, but now we're going to have to wait. Sarah B. Creative says, "This poor baby boy, bring him to his mom." Thank you for your 10, Sarah. Tony says, "What his lawyer is saying doesn't even jive with all the trash they threw at her in the opposition. No reason to have done that." I mean, the judge always, the number one thing that a judge is to consider, the most paramount thing, is what is in the best interest of the child. And it seems to me, based on her comments, that some of what she said, she tends to believe Justin's story about Kelsey's alleged history of violence towards him and the bridesmaids and others. And even when Julie has pushed back on that and said, we've told the other side of the story, including Michelle's deposition and everything else, and there's never been any allegations of Kelsey hurting the baby or threatening to hurt the baby. There's never been anything credible. The judge said, "Oh, but wait a second. Wasn't there some allegations that Kelsey was yelling at Justin in front of the baby?" Julie has said it was also important to note that prior to this June 30th ex parte order being granted, they were able to co-parent. They were able to co-parent, and they did it just fine. Thank you, Here for Humanity, for being here for 10 months. Says, "I appreciate you, Mel, and the Law Girls for covering this." Yeah, go give Law Girls a like and a sub. And if you can contribute in any way to their mission of going to court and traveling so far and fronting, they have a lot of overhead. They have a lot of overhead because they travel. My overhead is minimal because I sit in my studio and talk to you for hours on end. They travel. They have equipment set up. They have to make motions. And so, keep that into consideration if you'd like to thank them. And I suggest that you do. So I never, ever, ever would I ever tell you exactly what a judge is going to do. And I'm not going to tell you what the judge is going to do in this case, because I just don't know. I just don't know. But listening to the way the judge spoke, it seemed to me that she had concerns about some of these allegations of Justin. She didn't take any testimony. Michael from Justice Served was tweeting live from the courtroom. There were many other cases called before hers, and she did take testimony in some other cases. Thank you, April, who says long form content for the win. Thank you for your Venmo. She says you're a lifesaver. Thank you for being you. Thank you very much for your Venmo. I don't know anything about Ulwick as a judge. It's Ulwick, Ulwick. Jen said, I guess I came away with a much different take than some. To me, the judge seemed very, pretty horrified by some of what Justin's counsel wanted. Yeah. But I feel that the judge wants to reunify Kelsey and the baby. I feel like the judge doesn't think it needs to be in a controlled environment, and that I feel like the judge will let Kelsey see the baby on Mother's Day, as well as grandma. Because remember, the grandparents made a motion to see the baby. They've not seen the baby either since June 30th. But I just don't know what the judge is going to allow prior to the guardian ad litem issuing a report and being appointed. And it seems like they're each going to be able to suggest maybe 2, maybe 3 guardian ad litem. I think the judge should pick the guardian ad litem. That's what I think. Let the judge pick it. Because any of the guardian ad litems that are suggested by the attorneys are going to be obviously favorable to their past cases, right? To their prior cases. Kylie says, you can see that Justin's attorney is still trying to hold on to this narrative that she's a danger. They have hammered at that point. Think about Justin's mom and the text that she was sending, right, to the Stowe police. Exactly. We saw those text messages. I don't think that they were ever were they ever included in any filings, or were these things that leaked outside of the filings? I don't recall if they were included in the filings as I sit here this moment in front of you. Maybe the judge wants their suggestions so she knows who not to pick, says Brandy. The yarn lady says, I think she's going to allow in-home visits with the oversight of a professional supervisor. That's best case. I hope for that too. I hope for that. And I mean, it's hard to know where she's going to go, but I think that is the best case scenario for Kelsey and everyone and the baby. And she did say, the judge, that it's very, very important that the baby bonds with his mom. Lori, thank you very much for your Venmos. This is excellent coverage. Hashtag free Kelsey. Thanks. And thanks, Betsy. I love you too. Thank you for your Venmo. And Kim. We'll see how long it's going to take. Because you never know. But before Mother's Day. Katie says she was going in hard on the allegations that Justin made. I think that's her job. She will have to go and check the credibility. That's going to be hard for her, though. Well, no, but I mean, the only way for her to check the credibility would be to call witnesses. I mean, she can't do like ex parte visits to, Michelle and others, but she can read her transcript. Who watches the baby while Justin's at the keg parties? Was Judge Ulwick the one that signed off on the restraining order? Maybe. Freeze frame, a pan out says Salem Witch Trials 2026, alive and well on the interwebs. It wasn't in Salem today, but I know where you're going with that. Yep, she's kicking the can to the other judge. But in the meantime, she's going to issue a temporary order on custody. That's what she's here to do. Yes, she was the one. Judge Ulwick was the one who issued the original ex parte restraining order. Thank you. And she said, this is my case. It's going to go back to Judge Ulwick. They did not mention when the next hearing is, and so I do not know. Safety first. I didn't like Justin's attorney's attitude. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns. Before we wrap this almost 4 hour stream on what we thought was going to be a hearing starting at 10 a.m. But there were like 15 or 20 cases that needed to be Heard first. Judge said she'll draft a custody order. She's taking it under advisement. I think it's going to be well reasoned and well researched, and I think she'll set it out, and hopefully she'll give a temporary custody order that is beneficial to Kelsey and the baby. That's my hope. Karen Liss says, I wish she could have said Justin was not going to use the app. I wish she could have said Justin was not going to use the app. He not only wouldn't answer, but he blocked her. Well, all of that was in the papers, Karen, and she said she thoroughly read the papers. She knew everything that was in it. And when Julie has started talking about OFW, that's what she was talking about. It's called Our Family Wizard. She did shorten it and call it by its initials, but she did talk about it. But Karen says he obviously has no interest in co-parenting, praying Kelsey gets more parenting. Yeah, and also, Karen, we learned in the papers that we read last night that Justin blocked Kelsey. So even though he wouldn't sign up for Our Family Wizard, she couldn't even block him. I mean, she couldn't even contact him by text to tell him to please do it because he blocked her. Susan says, it makes me feel sick hearing this judge. I do not feel she even listened to Kelsey's side. So worried for Kelsey. Listen, the papers were extensive, okay? Justin filed a motion for temporary orders. Kelsey responded to that. Her response, I read it last night. It was 26 single-space pages. It was extensive. Kelsey filed a motion for temporary orders. Justin responded to that yesterday. That was something like 20 pages. And so don't worry about that because she's read all the papers. She knows what Kelsey's side is. She's read it. She seems to have been very up on what was happening and what is happening and what the arguments are. And so she didn't want them regurgitating their arguments. Thank you for your super chat. She didn't want them regurgitating what was in the papers because she's already read them. And it's not helpful. And so she wanted to know, is there anything that's not in the papers that you can add? So again, everyone who's saying Kelsey's attorney should have said this, she should have said that, she should have doubled down on the Our Family Wizard. She did mention it. It's all in the papers. Don't worry. The judge, because the judge did not render a decision from the bench, she's going to issue a written decision. I bet it's going to be very long, and I bet it's going to be very well reasoned, and I bet it's going to take into consideration all of the things that were in the papers. Okay. And the good news is that Kelsey did get to see Caden for a couple of hours this past Saturday. And so it was the first time she had seen Caden in 298 days. Justin's attorney did say, okay, we'll use Our Family Wizard, but we don't want any of those messages leaking out onto the internet. And the judge said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There may be a gag order. We don't know. I'm going to go rest my voice. Thank you. That is great advice, Dawn. That is great advice. KPT Times says, this is a great point. Massachusetts Family Court worries me. Harmony Montgomery was failed by them. Oh, she was. Carol Erskine wrote a book on it. I haven't read it, but I heard it's good. I don't think anyone expected an order from the bench today. That's unrealistic in my opinion. I did perhaps think that she would at least put some temporary order in place. Like, until I issue a written decision, let's have supervised visitation a couple days a week at Kelsey's place with a supervisor or something such as like that. But no, she didn't do that. So we're just going to have to wait. I always thought lawyers should be called waiters because lawyers wait all day long in court for their cases to be heard, as you saw today in real time. And we wait for decisions and we wait and wait and wait. And the waiting is the hardest part. Like Tom Petty said, it really, 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 really is. And Team Brittany says, I wish the judge would issue a gag order. I think I got to agree with you. I think, and I said this yesterday when we were reading the papers. I said, I wish these papers weren't public. I don't like all of this being out here on the tubes of view on the internet. It's in my opinion, it's personal family business. And I wish that we didn't know about it, but we do. Because there's a lot of mudslinging going on, mostly from Justin's side. Kelsey's been the one who's had to defend herself. But I feel like he knows it's going to get out and he knows everybody's going to see it. It's not making him very popular. But I don't know. I think that is what would be best for the child. I do. I do. Fight me on it. I just do. And on that note, I'm going to go rest my voice. Stay cool, stay kind, stay classy. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. Don't worry, because every little thing is going to be all right. As Bob Marley said. I love you guys. I will see you real soon. Make sure you have your notifications set, even though YouTube's not giving them out. Or just come back and check, because sometimes I go live without even telling you that I'm going live. Thank you, Lori. It says excellent coverage. Free Kelsey. I love you with all my heart. If I don't see you soon, I'm going to die, but I am going to see you soon. I just don't know exactly when. Peace out, my friends. Free Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Please donate if you can to her fund. It is linked below in the show notes. Thank the moderators. They're amazing. Tip your servers. And peace be with you. Go Bruins. Go Bruins. 7:30 tonight, okay? Got to pull this off. Can they do it? Can they do it? Free Caden. I'll be watching. I hope you'll be watching too. Peace.